for accepting our invitation and joining us today to meet up with all of us. I'd like to just say a small verse before we start. We all revere Madam as our Guru, so I'm just going to say a small Guru Stotram. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
Very good.
Ma'am, everyone is here to watch you, and so we'd like to hear the things that we never knew about you. Then we'll start with your entry into medicine, ma'am. Like, how did you decide to do medicine? Why did you decide to do medicine?
And this is a photograph of my immediate boss and the colleagues around me.
Which year it was taken?
And I don't know where you got this photograph because I have not seen it.
Madam, this is a picture of yours from Lady Harding, which Professor Rajendran shared.
Yeah, Dr. Rajendran. Immediately in the center, the center is my professor, Professor Nath, and next to her is myself, and next to me is Dr. Sharma, who was my colleague along with Rajendran, and the others are all postgraduates. Because you are only 3 consultants, assistant professors, and Professor Nath. So the rest of them, by face I recognize them, but I cannot remember anybody's name.
Okay, Dr. Rajendran is the one in the last?
Yeah, Rajendran I can recognize anytime.
Okay.
He was a great, because he was the first. I was in Lady Harding, where it was a women's hospital, and the central suddenly decided that they are going to have mixed regular medical college, and Rajendran was the first one, and anesthesia department was the first one to get it, and we were great friends.
So, Dr. Rajendran effectively, came into a female bastion, the lone male in a female bastion. Where did you do your training, madam? Because all of us are where we are today because of the kind of training that we received from you. We would like to know that who trained you so that you trained us the way you did.
So, I was in England and I was desperate to earn money. There was no way to get it. And I had to get it because I didn't want to borrow from anybody. And so I joined the place. And it happens to be senior residency in anesthesia. I didn't know nothing about it. And the senior anesthetist there happened to be one of the 5 initial doctors who were trained in anesthesia by Sir Robert McIntosh.
Wow.
And this boss thought that that is the only chance he has to teach somebody else. And he made sure that I learned anything and everything that he knew. But I kept telling him, I said, I'm not going to do anesthesia. He said, no, you just do it. He would give me books, he would give me question papers, and he said, you read a book and answer the question. And one of the 2 important things I learned from him was never to leave the contact with the patient when you are anesthetized. No matter how busy or how listening. And the second thing was that they should come first, that you must see the patient before the previous day before surgery. You'll never take a patient unless it's a dire emergency, because there was a highway nearby and every now and again we would get a mass casualty. This is whatever happens. Without examining the patient, don't take him on the operation table. So that is the main thing I learned. And of course, he made very sure that I knew everything. He insisted that I did my fellowship and go, and I said, no, I'm not going to do anesthesia. It so happened that when I came back to Bombay, I was so involved with my sister who was not well. And there was no way I could get a general practitioner's place. And how I landed in Delhi, I really don't remember.
So where did you do your DA, madam? Where did you actually do your DA? Your anesthesia formal training, where did you do?
See, I don't think I can really give you any explanation for that.
Not like that, madam. Where did you actually do your course finally? I mean, you trained under the top people when you didn't want to do anesthesia, but finally when you decided to make anesthesia.
Because there was no other outlet for me. I could only get an anesthesia, but I could not get the anesthesia appointment in Bombay. So one job came and I went to Delhi. And that also was, what shall I say, it was a temporary job. But it so happened that there was an advertisement in Lady Harding and I went for an interview and they gave me the job. But coming to JIPMER, I was very hesitant for a couple of minutes, for a little while. Because Lady Harding, I spent a lot of time and it was essentially women's hospital. And general surgery was done, but not on a very big scale. And I'm glad that halfway through my stay there, when pediatric surgeon joined, and so I was able to do a fair amount of electric cases and anesthesia. The only drawback in that was there was absolutely no possibility of taking any post-operative care for those patients because that was in a different block. And the surgeon thought that she would look after. I thought it is fine. And so when I came to JIPMER, I was a little hesitant that I have not done much of surgery, surgical cases. And how would I adjust myself to it? But it was not very difficult. Thanks to LJ and Ravi Shankar. Of course, there are many others, but these are the two I practically relied on for the first couple of months.
So, ma'am,
I think that is more than enough that you have to know about my past. Anyway, it was not very relevant.
Dr. Bhavani Shankar always says that he was your first official postgraduate student, student number one, as it were. So, how was your? How did you transit from just practicing anesthesia to a full teaching mode, ma'am?
And I'm sorry, I have not really heard everything what you said just now.
I would request everybody to mute themselves because there's some background noise we are unable to hear. If you are not the one talking, please mute yourself, please.
And this is Ramkumar here. What Vidya said was Bhavani said that he was your first official postgraduate. And so he is likely to come on today.
Maybe
get your comment on that, man.
No, I have no memory of that. You know, little while ago, a couple. No, I cannot vouch for this kind of memory. My memory is really bad because 2 days back I talked to Kimu, and he told me so many things. I said, I'm sure all these things that had happened, you are imagining. He said, no, I remember every word that was just said. So, I mean, if he said so, it must be so.
But he is the first student, no? He's sitting in.
This is Paddu.
Yeah.
Dr. Padmanabhan, are you there?
Yes, he's there.
So, Dr. Padmanabhan, would you like to say a few words?
So it's interesting to listen to you more than me saying anything. What, Ravi?
Yeah.
Hi.
I said you were the first student sitting in front of her and taking notes. She is
Yes.
giving you some assignment to do.
No, you know, he is the only one very regularly wishes me on a teacher's day. And I'm not very sure that I'm making much impact on a teacher's day.
You know, she keeps telling me that I am reminding her that she's a teacher every year.
Huh?
So, man, you look great.
Yeah. I don't know about that part. If you say so, it may be so.
Dr. Padmanabhan, we'd like to hear some interesting anecdotes from your time with Dr. Kangle.
Kangle, one thing I remember is, I think when she came to JIPMER in 25 or so, she had already completed a FRCS, MD, and a diploma in pediatric anesthesia. Ask her from which country?
Madam,
Copenhagen.
Dr. Padmanabhan is asking you where you trained in pediatric anesthesia.
Diploma in pediatric
I
anesthesia from
trained myself. There was nobody around. And we had to do the case. And
Germany.
I mean, there were hardly any books on at that time, but I mean, I just used my brain and used whatever I could. Not that I was always successful about it.
I think he wants to know about your time in Copenhagen, ma'am.
No, say it again.
I think he wants to know about your time in Copenhagen. Did you spend some time in Copenhagen?
Yeah, Copenhagen. I mean, that was, see, I was just lucky that I got so many
from there
fellowships, and this was the WHO fellowship, and they had a course for 1 year, and they had a exam every quarter. So the first quarter exam, what happened, and the chief called me and he says, "What would you like?" And I was wondering what was he talking about. And he says, "No, would you like something special to do in anesthesia?" Then I said, "Okay, I will go and do my fellowship." And he says, "Okay." So it was never planned. I mean, when I went, everyone told me, "You will not be able to do exams, you will not do anything." But I mean, he said, "You do it." So I was quite happy because they're paying my fare up and down. And all I had to do was study and prepare for the exam. And fortunately, everything went well. But I don't think it is one great achievement or anything like that.
At that time, there was no specialty in pediatric anesthesia.
You please repeat again. I can't hear you.
At that time, 73, 74, specialization in pediatric anesthesia was not known. You are the first one I heard telling.
Dr. Iyer is saying that at that time, you were probably the first that he had heard of who were trained in pediatric anesthesia.
Yes.
So,
I won't say that, but that was the time I got a chance to work with a pediatric anesthetist in Liverpool. I forget his name, but I should have known. My memory is also
Jackson Rees, ma'am.
So I worked with him, and he had very strict rules that he did not leave, have the postgraduates to handle the patient in any way, including starting from the IV line or fixing doing an intubation or fixing the thing. He said, "I will not allow you," but he will make sure that I stayed there. I mean, we all watched it very carefully, and he would question us about that, why it is not done here, why did I do this, why did I not do this. Like he was very particular that he'll put an IV line, but he will not fix it. And I kept asking him, I said, why are you not fixing? Because every now and again you will have to do it again. He said, no, I will fix the hand in such a way that it will never come out. And somehow or the other, he really managed that. And I was wondering how did he manage. And I mean, see, it was a 26 number nail, I think. And he will just put it in the vein and leave it like that. And imagine even having to put drugs, injection drugs and all. Some amount of movement would be there. But somehow he was very good at it. I think
somebody seems to have two devices on. Could you please switch off one device because there's too much of feedback? If anybody is using two devices at the same time, please switch one off.
Vidya? Yeah. Most of the noise is from Madam's house. There's somebody talking behind the room.
Okay, right. So, Dr. Ravi,
Please,
do you have
slowly,
any other?
because I can't hear you very clearly.
Okay, right. Dr. Ashok, would you like to say something? Dr. Ashok Menon?
This one is JIPMER.
Yes, it is
Dr.
JIPMER.
Chakravarti.
Yeah.
This is JIPMER. This is Chakravarti. This is Madam Kangle.
Huh?
This is yours obedient.
Yeah, Chakravarti I knew in Delhi. And he's a good and he was very good anesthetist. We were very friends. But when I met him in JIPMER, there was something seems to be bothering him all the time.
It certainly was.
And when I asked me, he told me one long story. And I felt a little uneasy because I had hardly known NP Singh, so I had no comments to make on that. But he was really, I felt as if he was consumed with that, whatever his, differences he had with NP. But he was a very good anesthetist. We worked together in Delhi.
Dr. Chakravarti, who are you talking about?
Dr. Ashok Menon wanted to say something. Dr. Ashok Menon, please unmute yourself and speak.
What is he?
I think it's going to be this thing. My hearing is really not.
No, nobody is speaking, ma'am. Just wait. Dr. Ashok Menon, please
wait for a minute. I'll get somebody to answer.
Dr. Ashok Menon, please unmute
If you
yourself.
just wait for 1 minute. If you wait for 1 minute, I will get my telephone, this thing adjusted.
Ashok sir, please unmute yourself before you speak.
Adjust the mana negative ऐकू येत नाही. Now you say what you have to say.
Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yeah.
I was just requesting Dr. Ashok Menon to say something, ma'am. Dr. Ashok Menon.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Where is he?
Ashok, please unmute yourself.
Ashok sir, please unmute yourself.
Bottom left of your screen.
Sir, bottom left of your screen. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's unmuted, I think. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm doing the unmuting. Fine.
So how are you? How are you, madam? And how is your health?
My health is okay, but I can't see your health is very okay.
I met ma'am recently, man. She is fine. I Dr. Bagdi. I went and met ma'am. She is fine.
You know, about 8 days back, I thought of you. I said, you have been here, and I've hardly said hello to you. Because when you came, I was in such a bad shape. I thought, how could I invite him in?
Everybody got scared seeing that
Thanks
picture,
to Geeta, I got to see you. Thanks to Geeta, Vidya.
No. But I think we need, one of these days we should meet.
Yeah.
So thanks, Dr. Bhagdi, for joining, and thanks for keeping us all connected. Lalit wanted to say something, ma'am. Lalit, are you there? Lalit Shekhar, are you there?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Madam, somebody in Copenhagen asked you a lot of questions and you came back and took it out on 3 decades of trainees.
That is your assessment. I mean, I have nothing to say.
And the other thing is, you said that's nothing that you've achieved, and we've spent all our lives getting the same degree trying to copy you.
No, but I must say, no, one thing I must tell you, whenever I did this exam, everybody asked me, where were you trained? And I would always say, I give the name of the boss who trained me. And then they say, no, but otherwise in, where were you trained? I say, I'm in India. Which college? Grand Medical College. So they was, oh, they will say. Then I was very happy that my medical college was appreciated.
Ma'am, I just wanted to add to Lalit's thing. When we used to do our ICU duties and we used to call you to report on the patient, I would spend endless time trying to know everything about the patient so that when you ask me the question, I have the answer. But almost always, there will be one thing which I would have missed and you will ask, and then I'll have to go back and check it. And it used to make my day the day I didn't, every question you asked, if I answered, I felt I had got, I had got a big prize or something. And very strangely, the same thing happens with me and my juniors. When they report back, they report so many things, and then I will ask one question, and they'll say, "Oh, I told you so many things. How come you're asking one more?" So looks like we have all imbibed that, ma'am.
So you only picked up some things that you have to impress somebody, but I wasn't doing it for impressing anybody.
No, madam, not for impressing. It is just that some detail, that attention to detail is what we learned from you. Because you, made us look for it. It has remained with us for the rest of our lives. Like.
From where he got this photograph?
Yeah, from Pondicherry only. Unfortunately, you didn't attend this party.
One of the parties.
Yeah.
Madam, Ravi is saying I'm not guilty.
No, I can recognize all of them.
You can't. You can identify two people.
She
can, yeah.
So, Dr. Ravi, you are the one who's probably attended maximum of these parties hosted by madam. So why don't you tell us something about how this, tradition of party started?
Yeah, even I don't know.
And you seem to have continued it with your students, and they were talking about all the parties that you hosted when your birthday meeting was going on.
And Ravi, after that, can I ask Gauri and Murli to come on? They are both together.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Yeah.
No, it is a tradition of the department. It's set up by LJ, Seshagiri Rao and Paddu. So that's what it continued. I mean, it is nothing.
I really still don't know how did we come to an agreement that we would have a party. I mean, the other day I was thinking, and I said, how did we come to start this kind of thing?
No, this is a person who is joining the department will give a party. Person who is leaving the department will give a party. Person who has finished a posting in internship will give a party. That is what it is. So I did 1 month internship I did, and when I finished, I gave a party.
Yeah. No, but
party every week.
Dr. Hari Krishnan, were you saying something?
Yeah, I was just saying we had a party every week. And madam, good evening. I don't know you remember me, but I seen you in 75, 76, and 77.
Of course, I remember. Actually, when she asked me, I said, how did I forget his name? Because I know him very well.
I am a batch from Gauri and of course Farindranath and Ashok Menon, and Ravi was only a senior to us. I remember all the time you driving us, I was sitting next to you and you telling us that always remember all the other drivers are idiots. They don't know anything about driving. So you are such a defensive driver. We enjoyed all the time we spent with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
It is
Thank
not
you. It is
only
very
she
kind of
drove.
you to do it. Now, where are you here or you are in America?
I'm retired. I'm an anesthesiologist, retired. I'm in USA. I come 6 months in India and 6 months here. But unfortunately, with the corona, I'm stuck in USA right now.
Don't say stuck. India is the best place to live.
I know, but I can't go there now. Right now, they're not letting us come there. Especially from Florida. I'm from Florida. They don't want anybody from Florida to come on over there.
Dr. Gauri, are you there?
Yeah, so yeah, Gauri and Murli are there. Can you please unmute yourself, Murli and Gauri? And yeah, ma'am is waiting to hear.
Okay.
You're good.
Hi,
Hi, Gauri. It is so
Hi.
very nice to see you. And she couldn't get your address, and I somehow managed to find your email address. I said, you contact her, and she must come. She was the first friend in my department when I came to Pondicherry.
It's so good.
And it was so nice to see her. And she's looking so nice.
Oh, you're looking very nice yourself.
But hearing is a big problem for me, really. Yes.
Dr. Kangle, I met you in 1984, December.
Yeah.
When I was in JIPMER. And you don't look a day older than that now.
No. That is not true. That you are being dishonest. That's not at all true. I may be looking fit, but I am nowhere near that.
Madam,
You ask Dr. Bagdi. You ask Dr. Bagdi, he will tell you.
I wanted to say a couple of things.
Eyesight of Murli, Padu, it's all poor. So you are looking beautiful to them. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Love you so much. And because of you, I saw my favorite Murli and Gauri. Thank you, madam.
So Dr. Murli, Dr.
To have Gauri in the
Murli,
department, no, to have Gauri in the department for me was a great relaxation in a way, because we were friends. I mean, so she was this thing, but she was the first friend I met. And so it was easy to discuss or talk without harming anybody or finding faults. She knew exactly what is this. So it is so nice. Gauri, I'm so glad I met you. We have come.
I am so glad. You know, I wanted to say two things. One is, Madam was the first person among the consultants to invite us home. Before that, the consultants, we always had this distance. Once Madam came to us, she would be very strict in the OR, but then she'll invite us home and she'll have parties at your house. The other thing I wanted to say was to amend on what Hari Krishnan said. When I was learning to drive, she would take me in her car and let me drive, and she would say, everybody else is not only blind and deaf, also brain dead. So you've got to drive as safe yourself.
Dr. Bade, would you like to say something? Dr. Ashok Bade?
Manoj is there.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, madam.
Good.
Madam. Dr. Ashok Bade.
Good evening,
तुमचा
ma'am.
फोन
Good
येतो
evening.
तर मला तुमची सगळी माहिती मिळते तुमच्याकडनं.
Madam, I really like to thank you for so many things that you have taught me. Anesthesia and life also. After joining as a senior resident in anesthesia, I was so much impressed by you, and I have learned so many things. Like, first is a pre-assessment, as you have already told, that previous day you should go and do the pre-anesthetic assessment and report to the consultant. And that, I think, system we kept on following till now. Second thing is about the post-op follow-up. You always used to tell us to go and see your patient in the post-operative period to see whether, other than the surgery things, also see whether pain relief is adequate or not. I am really used to like that thing. Another thing I like was you used to teach us how to do the time management. You are so particular about time, coming to theater in time, trying to finish the theater in time, trying to attend the classes in time. I still remember you also taught me a little bit of acupuncture, which we used to have in acupuncture clinic. It used to run Sunday, it used to run in surgery OPD at 2 p.m. You were sharp there in the clinic. I really used to like that, and I learned a little bit. Other than that, some personal life also. When I came to see you with my wife, it was a very, very homely invitation to me. I was very happy. I also, every Sunday, when I was a senior resident, I used to come to your house around 12 o'clock, lunchtime, knowing fully he is going to invite me. And I used to remember, I used to eat very, very sumptuous lunch in your house, especially in Marathi, what we called as bhakri or jawar ki roti and butter. That I still remember. I really enjoyed that a lot of times. Another thing, some lighter moments also. I still remember that my farewell party as a senior resident was in your garden. I still remember that, and you had given me a beautiful gift of vase, which I kept it for quite a long till now. Then some other light moments is, I remember the Harvey House top parties. In the Harvey House top, we used to have parties, and all of us, you should know that the glasses for these parties used to come from Madam Kangle's house, because all of us were day scholars, so we never had glasses. So Madam used to give those glasses to us, and with the instructions that you should return them back without breaking a single one. So I still remember in one of the parties, what happened is, one of the resident broke one glass, and Madam came to know about it. And you'll not be, all of us were quite
That was
in the
Sinha,
very
sir.
spiritual level. So what happened is, he broke one of the glass. Then Madam came and asked, how did you break the glass? And that resident was so nice. He took another glass and he threw it down. So I really thank you, Madam, for everything that you have given me. I learned a lot of things in my life, and I am really following it, and very, very thankful to you also about the interaction with the surgeons, how sometimes you have to be very strict, sometimes you have to adjust and do it. And I would like to thank Vidya also for arranging this meeting. Really, it was very nice of you, Dr. Vidya, to arrange this meeting.
सर डॉक्टर साहब मत बोलिए सर, विद्या बोलिए क्या, डॉक्टर साहब बोल रहे हैं आप?
Okay, Dr.
My
Only
pleasure.
Vidya. Sorry, Vidya.
Thank you so much for joining, and as you all probably know, Dr. Bade is the medical superintendent. Am I right, Dr. Bade?
Yes, yes. I'm still working in JIPMER for another 6 months as a medical superintendent of JIPMER.
Thank you so much for joining, sir. Dr. Vinodan, are you there?
Welcome. It was my pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Dr. Vinodan, are you there?
These were the glasses that he was talking about.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Okay, you can see in everybody's hand, it is the glasses that have come from Dr. Kangle's house. And how it happened is that one day we were all having a party. He said, what you fellows, you don't know how to drink. I will give you the glasses. You come to my house, I will show you what glass to use it for what. And she said, this is the whiskey, and this is for beer, and this is for brandy. I mean, that is how she told that, and this is how you have to drink it. You have a style in drinking. Okay, that's what is followed.
Thank you, Ravi.
Dr. Vinodan, are you there?
I want
Yes,
to speak
yes,
to Manoj. Manoj is there.
Yes, ma'am. Manoj is there.
Yes, ma'am.
Vinodan, please. Vinodan is ready. Vinodan is ready. Ma'am, Vinodan is ready, ma'am. He's raising his
Okay, I talk to Manoj.
Hello, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, of course I can hear you. I can see you also.
That is proper.
I hope you could. I hope you could recognize me at least. It's
Of course I did.
almost 40 years since I. So, very,
Yeah,
very long
why
time.
not? Why should not I recognize you? It is you're lucky that I didn't forget your name. Memory is a problem.
Okay.
But I can see you're doing very well.
Yeah, maybe. I think.
So don't say maybe.
Yeah, I think you definitely look better than me. I think the age has not touched you.
See, we are not here for competition. Come on.
Okay. I think I should thank Vidya more than anybody.
Vinodan sir, I'm Dr. Radhakrishna.
Oh yes, Radha. Yes.
You remember me? It's so nice seeing you, sir. Vidya, I worked under sir for some time in Medical Trust Hospital.
Sir, you have to thank Radhakrishna. He's the one who got us going. I am the visible face. He's the man behind. He's the man behind who has made this whole thing happen.
Yeah, I think I will thank both of you. Yes, for at least gave me a chance to
And
talk
I
to.
think all of you that you made it to the place, because I had practically forgotten who was there. And believe me, I'm trying to remember the names, and every Tuesday I told Vidya, I said, I'm not sure, but you find out that person is there or not, because I would like to speak to them. At least if I see them for some time, it would be nice for me.
So thank you. Hope you do.
Tell me, how are you? How's your practice?
Yeah,
Are you with the boss of the place?
I'm still. I mean, I happen to continue as the boss because probably I'm the oldest in the not only the department, the whole institution. So I think.
Vidya, Dr. Vinod is one of the best anesthetists I have ever worked under.
Thank you. But that way I keep myself busy and have probably a very quiet personal life.
Very good.
Most of the time is spent in the hospital rather than at home, even now.
Now I'm even only in the hospital. I stopped working about 2 years back. And after that, I'm only at home. I'm not doing anything. And
Vinodan sir, I want to say something. Despite having been in anesthesia for 20 or more years, I always used to still get scared when there is a high risk patient or somebody who's ASA 4, 5 and all. And we were all coming back from a conference in Pondicherry, and I think I drove you and Dr. Ashok back to Chennai. And on the way, we were chatting about different things. And then you said, it's really difficult to kill anyone these days, isn't it? And then that kind of switched a button in my head. And believe me, after that day, I am never really, I may not show from outside, but inside I used to be scared. But now I'm no longer scared because you reassured me that it's actually very difficult to kill somebody under anesthesia.
Yeah. You have to try really hard to do it.
Not the anesthetist kills them, it's the surgeon who kills them.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we are always there to stop them from killing. That's what we always do.
So, Subbu,
I think as an anesthetist, I feel this is the best profession, though I didn't like it. But when I actually worked and got involved with it, I thought this is the best medical profession to follow because it gives you everything. You give the clinical judgment, you give how to handle the emergencies. You can be very, what shall I say, you have to work very hard from maybe morning till night, do night duties, all that. But one thing was the independence you had as an anesthetist. I mean, once you're qualified and you go, nobody can come and tell you why you have done this case like this. I mean, it's your judgment. And so it is a kind of responsibility also, but also a kind of freedom that perhaps other surgical consultants do not have. And evening time is you're free. I mean, nobody can come back. So I think that is a great assessment.
Because you have actually inspired generations of people to take up anesthesia, ma'am, because what you said, you actually showed us in while working. And probably that was the reason many of us decided to take up anesthesia. Dr. Subbu, are you there? KR Subbu?
Hi, yeah.
Hi, KR.
Hi.
Hi. Hello, madam. I wonder whether you remember me.
Of course, I remember you.
Thank you. Just a
And
couple
your
of things.
son.
After all, I came and stayed in your place in Bangalore.
Yeah, I know. There are a couple of things I'd like to say. First is when I joined anesthesia, I started doing DA. I took it just because I had passed my ACFMG. I thought I'm going to go to America. I thought, okay, until then, spend time, get some money so that I can, at least I don't have to live on my father's money. But then after a month, just a month in the Department of Anesthesia, I said, no, I'm not leaving this place. It was absolutely wonderful. With all you guys there, the parties and everything was marvelous. The second thing was when you came home to Bangalore, ma'am, and then we went and met Dr. C.V. Raman's son, Dr. Radhakrishnan.
Yes, correct.
And I took her on my scooter.
Yeah.
You remember that?
It's very nice. I was wondering whether you were coming or not, but I said since I have given the name of Vidya, there is everything. And now you're in Chennai.
I'm in Chennai. I did MD from Chandigarh. Then I had a private practice in Bangalore for a couple of years. But being from JIPMER, private practice is not that easy to take to.
Yeah.
It's a bit difficult. So I thought, no. So I better take up a regular job. I thought maybe somewhere outside India might be a little more, a few more pennies. So I went to England. I was there for about 8 to 10 years. Then I went to Hong Kong. I was there for about 10 years. And then I came back and I said, enough of everything. So I stopped practicing. And since 2001, I'm not entered the operating theatre for anesthetizing patients anymore. But that's how it was.
It's okay.
Madam, he's a man
You're
of
looking
leisure.
quite good. You're looking very smart.
Oh, thank you.
You use the brain enough.
Manoj, would you like to say a few words? Madam wants to talk to you. Manoj?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, what shall I say?
Yeah,
I'm kind of
before you say
overwhelmed.
anything, Manoj, before you say anything, I must thank you for the book you sent. But tell me something. Did I actually thank you for the book you have sent?
You don't have to thank me, ma'am.
Come on now. I was waiting to read the sections that you have said, because it's two books which I could, but I read all whatever you have read. And I said, but thank you. But I have a feeling that I never really sent you a thank you note.
You did, ma'am. You did.
Am I right?
Yes. Okay, firstly, I think it is apt to give my greetings to ma'am first. All of you have said a lot about her, and I totally concur with that. It would be also apt to say to my mentor, Dr. Ravi, he's right at the top left of me. Thank you, sir, all these years. It would also not be fair not to say thanks to many of my senior residents. Piyush Maniambath, he taught me how to, my first intubation was actually with Piyush. I still remember that day. Next was Lalit Shekhar, Daniel, Krishnamurthy, Dr. Bade, you're hiding over there, sir. And my greetings to all the seniors that were there before our time. I think I won't take much of your time, but I think I would like to say that what I learned from this department was hard work, integrity, honesty, and keep the patient as your first priority. If you have these values, then this is what I am today. I don't need to say much, but I think all of us would agree that this was a department which has shaped most of our formative years. I still teach some of these values to my children. And I have two lovely children. They are grown up now, and they always say, yeah, daddy, yeah, yaddy, yaddy. That's the word they use. But I'm sure they will grow up to go on and teach their children the same values that ma'am, Ravi, my parents, they taught us. So it's very nice to see you well. I was very honored to visit you in Mumbai the other day, a couple of years ago, and you still look as well as you were, ma'am. And I wish you many, many more years of good health and peace. And Ravi, what can I say? Today I consider you my friend. So sometimes
Of
people
course,
may say,
after
why
always
is
it
he?
is.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
never considered a teacher. I'm always a friend.
Absolutely, sir. So I think your values that you have inculcated in me has taken me this far. So I'm so grateful to each one and all of you, including Ram there. You thought I didn't know you, but I know you from many, many years. A lot of respect to many of you. And now that I do academics, it's a whole beast of a thing in terms of medical practice and clinics. But I have to take this opportunity to thank my good friend Piyush, because when we finished our time, our fellowships in England, everybody was thinking, how do I become an SR? How do I become a consultant? But Amachi, he started his journey back, you know. He went back to Coimbatore and he's a very happy father, family, etc. So I also was very attached to Asia and my contemporaries back at home. So I thought maybe it's time I should head back. So it brought me to Hong Kong about 23 years ago. And I'm still here. And without saying much, I think my father always used to tell me, we come to this world, if you make one small change, we've done our part. I'm sure each one of you have done your part in your own way, in your home, your society, whatever. I think, ma'am, Ravi, all that we are sitting here today and talking to you, that's your part. I hope I have contributed and I've done my part. And I wish you all well. And it's really good to see you all here. I'm just trying to figure out all the faces and everything, but I can still see that everyone is doing very well. Thank you. And to you again, ma'am. My regards.
Yeah. This is a picture he has shared with me to show it
Nice
off.
photograph. Nice photo. Manoj, nice photograph.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Dakshayani, would you like to join? Would you like to say a few words?
Huh?
Daksh, are you there?
Hello. Hello. So Vidya, Dakshi here. Hi. Hi. Hi Ram. Hi Vani.
Hi, Dakshi.
I want to say.
Your face is a little
Hello,
dark.
Dakshayani.
Yes.
Hello,
There's no
Dakshayani.
light on your.
Hello,
There's
hello,
no light
hello,
on your face. There's no light on your face, Dakshayani. Difficult to see you.
What to do?
Never mind.
There's a tube light on the wall. Shall I move towards the camera?
Yeah.
I think it'll help if I move towards.
Moving away, away. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, that's better. That's better.
Yes, thank you. I was listening to all the conversations so far, and two things that Madam said was about while she was training under Professor McIntosh, about seeing the patient.
Cell phone.
Hello.
Please continue.
Yes, thank you.
Someone's mic needs to be muted. Somebody's mic needs to be muted.
Yeah, I'll take care. I'll take care.
Thank you.
But tell me, you're not well?
Me?
Huh? Because you seem to have lost so much weight.
Yes, ma'am. I'm actually recovering from surgery. I had a resection for CA rectum about 2.5 weeks back.
Oh. And how are you now?
I'm feeling better. I'm not too
Still
bad.
better.
Yes,
but
I
you
am
are
getting
not back
better.
to normal then.
No, not yet. Not yet. I'm
But
just
it's
getting.
nice of you to come.
Oh, thank you very much, ma'am. I'll never miss this chance.
And it was very nice of you to come. I'm so glad you came. Because she told me, Gauri told me you will be there also. And but it was on the phone, so only a short talk was there. But she said, no, she will come. She is still working. And
I won't miss this chance.
it is very nice of you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, ma'am. And what I wanted to say was, you said about Professor McIntosh, the training McIntosh, and you said about how he insisted on precision and also seeing the patient.
വേറെ ആരോ കൺട്രോൾ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. share.
And seeing the patient before, the day before the surgery. What I remember is I had only a few sessions with you in theater. So one day, I think there were three of us residents with Dr. Kangle. And she asked who all have seen the patient before. And only one had seen. So the other two were, she didn't say anything at that time. Then the next thing was inducing the anesthetic. The ones who picked up the laryngoscope with the right hand were not allowed to continue with the laryngoscope had to be picked up with the left hand. That is the way it is used by a right-handed person who uses the laryngoscope in the left hand. I remember that very well, and I made sure that I had the laryngoscope on my left side on the pillow so that I could pick it up straight away like that. That's one. That
you know, you tell me all this, but I have no memory of all.
You know, you have hit my knuckles because I picked it up on the right hand.
I can imagine that.
Somebody corrected you.
The other thing was your acupuncture.
That was the only time somebody corrected you, I said.
Yeah, of course. A lot of times.
The other thing is your acupuncture clinic that you started after returning from China. As part of the pain clinic. And I remember with one of the medical students who was suffering from bronchial asthma, you tried acupuncture on him and he was able to either reduce or stop or at least reduce the steroid dose. I was very impressed by that. So,
but I don't do any acupuncture anymore.
Is the acupuncture clinic running in JIPMER now?
Dr.
No,
Bade, is acupuncture clinic running in JIPMER?
No, it is not running in JIPMER now.
No, that's a shame.
Dr. Kumudini is actually in her clinic and may be called anytime. So, Kumudini, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Because of Chinese medicine.
Hello?
Bade, Ramkumar here. Is acupuncture
Ramkumar.
banned because of Chinese medicine, is it?
No. It was stopped some time back.
Okay. So you're the MS, so I thought you might have taken that decision.
No.
Sorry, I interrupted. Yeah. Kumudini, sorry I interrupted.
Hi, Ram. Nice seeing you again.
Hey, how are you?
Ma'am, how are you? Nice to
I'm
see you again
okay.
after all these years.
Let me talk to Kumudini.
Share.
Dr. Ashok, can you please mute your mic? Yeah. Right. Go ahead, Kumudini.
Yeah, I just wanted to say the same thing which Manoj said, I think. I think what we learned in JIPMER from Madam and Ravi and LJ and Gauri and all the seniors there was integrity and responsibility. And I think I just want to thank you for that. And it has helped me a lot. I think if you practice that wherever you are trusted and respected, and that's what I find. So I'm really, really grateful, not only for my anesthesia training, but everything else you have taught me there. Really, ma'am.
It's really nice. It's nice that you have not only learned in the department, and I also feel that JIPMER anesthesia department is one of the good departments where the people were well trained and well looked after. Also, I think.
I think of you often.
Nice. Very kind of you. You know, that is a thing, something like I remember some names, but I won't remember their faces. Then I remember the faces and I have no idea what the name is. So it is very tough to get the whole thing together and put the correct name to the correct face.
Dr. Giri, would you like to say something?
Yeah, yes, I want to talk to Giri. And what about Shiva, this thing, Bhavani?
We'll let you know if he joins, ma'am. He has a OT list running.
Okay.
Hello, ma'am. Giri here.
Where are you?
I am in Kuwait, madam.
Ah.
I am in Kuwait for the last, now I came in 95.
You are the boss
years
now.
now gone.
I hope you are the chief boss there.
For quite some time, 20 years.
Yeah. More than 20, 25, 26th year now.
You have become a citizen there.
No, it's not possible. Anyway, I came to our forum now today is to talk about you. It's very nice that you are, very nice to see you today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Actually,
And we remember certain nice things about you, ma'am. You used to teach us all fundamentals, which has kept us in good stead throughout our career. Nothing very great, all the fundamentals for the safety of the patient. And inside the theater, inside the hospital, you are a very strict and good teacher. Outside, it's all your friend for everybody. As somebody, all of them mentioned, all our parties used to start in your house in Ilangonagar. Then we will adjourn to the city, to Aristo or wherever. And certain incidents I remember. Ravi Shankar's wedding. We were supposed to go to Tirutani. That day, suddenly some bandh happened. All the buses were cancelled. So we didn't know how to go for Ravi's wedding. So only refuge for us was Madam Kangle. We went to her house nearly very late in the night, around 10 o'clock. She readily agreed. You take my car on one condition, that only Mohandas will drive. And he said the responsibility of all of the others is to make sure Mohandas doesn't sleep during the drive. Not more than 6 people in the car. It was a Fiat car. Somehow we managed to go and come back thanks to Madam. Otherwise, Ravi would have missed all of us in the wedding.
Yeah, I know. Just in the evening, I was talking about this to my wife. How people came for my wedding.
In fact, there were more than we were more than 6 people. So it so happened there was one Rao, senior resident in surgery, that fellow had bought a new motorcycle.
Yeah, Ramadhan.
So 2 of us, one of us got into the bike. And initially I drove the motorcycle. Halfway I got in near Vandavasha somewhere, I got into the car. The other person was Sudaman. And these people who went in the motorcycle, they lost the way in the night. And they came in the morning after we had breakfast. It was fun, really fun. So and all the meetings we used to have in your house only. After work, you were like our mother.
But this episode of taking the car from me, I have no memory whatsoever. Absolutely zero. I mean, I didn't know that the episode actually occurred.
Even after I left JIPMER, many occasions you have visited us in Chennai, to our flat in Chennai, and whenever we came to Pondicherry for any meet, you were there looking after me and my family.
Madam,
so that was very nice of you, ma'am.
It is not the only occasion. When I was going to UK, my flight was at 4 o'clock in the morning, and the taxi did not come. And you gave your car, and then you arranged for the driver for me to go. And I started at 10 o'clock and reached on time to the airport. Do you remember that?
No.
No.
Actually, thank God Kimu is there or not, because I talked to him about 2 days back, and he told me so many things that I said so, I did this and this, and I absolutely zero memory. I mean, it's hard for me to believe that this is happening.
You might have had a lot of differences with other senior colleagues, but it never had any, it never affected the education of the department. Education, you are very keen that everybody should talk. When you took a class, you always made sure that everybody answered. Many people, because of fear and reservations, they used to keep quiet. She will say, at the most, you can be wrong. Say something. You can be afford to be wrong in this class, but not in the exam. So some famous quotations, I can never forget you.
Thank you.
Piyush, would you like to say something? Piyush, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, nice to see you, madam. I hope you remember me. Can you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure, we can hear.
Yeah. And Ravi, thank you, sir. As Manoj said, there's a lot of gratitude for a few of you who were actually running the department when I joined. And there were a lot of people like me who joined not because of the love of anesthesia, but the liking of the department. We didn't know what anesthesia was when we were house surgeons, but the department was so good. Many of us did our elective there, and we had never seen such a friendly department in our life. So we continued, and it has been a good journey. I don't know whether madam can hear me.
Madam, can you hear Piyush?
Yeah.
Can you hear Piyush? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, then I was there. I finished my senior residency, and I don't know whether Ravi remembers, when I just came from England, we went to Ooty together for a conference.
Yes, I do.
97 maybe. And then I've been in Coimbatore the last 20 years. But as Vidya and some of you know, my interests have drifted now. And I write fiction, which some of you have read also. But madam was...
But in fiction in Tamil or in English?
No, English.
Okay. Then please do send me something. Huh?
I will get the address from Vidya and send it. The thing about madam was that she was quite strict. And I remember that 8 o'clock when we had to report, she never suffered fools very gladly. And there was a lot of foolish behavior on our part once in a while. But once outside, it was totally different. Just imagine you going to your HOD's house for a drink and then going for dinner. If you had tried that with some other HODs of some other department, you might have got shot. So, but I remember only after madam moved into the campus. I don't remember this Ilango Nagar. I don't think I had joined by that time. But I became quite close to her during the acupuncture clinic, because it used to be only two of us and you talk. And it shaped my life quite a bit, actually. Ravi and LJ, and who's sadly not with us, and madam. And many of us did join the department and not anesthesia. But then it became a journey, and it was very, very interesting. So I've shifted off now. I'll send you the book, madam, and thank you for everything.
No, it is very nice. I didn't even know about this.
Piyush?
Yes.
You were playing soccer, right, in the college?
Yes.
But you look totally different now.
Yes, I do. I do.
The volume of this.
He's into golf these days.
Yes, I play golf.
Okay.
And then,
how do you maintain a black mustache with a white hair, man?
My good friend, no, this actually mustache I did for Radha. I hope she's there. Because she only talked about my mustache.
No, that you don't. But the screen has not come. No, it has gone.
Yeah, I play golf. And
now you can't get it?
You can see?
No, I can't see anything.
We can see you.
Okay.
We can see and hear you.
Okay.
So now in fact, I have actually, funnily, last maybe 3 years, I was in KMCH with Salvaraj for many years. Now I come up and I do run a pain clinic, and even now I remember madam's acupuncture. I remember us doing a GJ vagotomy in a thin patient with a few needles in the ear. and Professor Dubey had just joined. So he came to me and took me aside and said, ketamine Diana. He couldn't believe that it was being done only acupuncture. He thought we had given ketamine unofficially. So there's a lot of things I learned from her, but she was, as I said, she was strict and a little scary in those days. Now we don't get scared about anything. So
even senior consultants, she used to tell them off, tell them off. Don't teach students wrong things.
Yes.
Even people like LJ, Ravi Shankar, she will tell them off. Don't teach students wrong things.
He was straight with everyone. There's no doubt about that. And during my
Dr.
7-8 years.
Smile was the operating surgeon. He's also online.
Ma'am, we have a surprise guest, Dr. Smiles. Dr. Smile, would you like to say something?
But he was, Dr. Smiles is my friend, so he can't say anything against me. Come on.
Ma'am, you can make out. I'm Smile.
Yeah, your teeth is not seen, yeah?
I'm audible, no? Ravi?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're audible.
Ma'am, I owe you a lot. The other day I was telling them, after my MS, I continue to be in JIPMER because of you. I don't know whether you remember or not.
No.
No, I was, yeah, because I got an appointment as GDMO and posted to anesthesia department JIPMER after my MS. And I came and requested you, and he said you can continue in surgery as long as you want. But every time when I operate the other side, he used to say your asset is not a surgeon used to say. And I was always part of anesthesia, and every party, whether in a house or hotel, I was always a part of that. Ravi also remember that. And even now, I continue to be a part of anesthesia only, because Ravi is there all the time with me. And the other thing is, important thing I want to thank was my wife. He gave acupuncture, remember, ma'am?
Yeah, of course I remember.
Yeah.
Hello, madam.
Ma'am, we can't see your face. Ma'am, yes, ma'am. Now we can see. Now we can see.
Hello, madam.
Hello.
Hello.
I am Dr. Giri from Kuwait. You are my teacher, registrar in medicine. And Dr. Smile was our idol.
Oh, yeah, you're looking very well. Your wife is looking very well. I'm so glad.
Oh, thank you, madam. All because of you. You are acupuncture.
No, that's very kind of you to keep like this. But I know my limits also.
So all the time I remember you for your kindness and the help you did.
Yeah.
I remember your Fiat. You left it with Ravi when you left.
Hi Vidya, can my wife say a few words?
Pardon?
Can my
Mohana.
wife?
Go ahead, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Yeah.
You need to come little closer to the.
Yeah.
Yes.
Please come little closer to the camera, ma'am. Yes.
Good evening, all of you.
Hello, Mohana, how are you?
Fine.
Can we have one song here?
Madam.
Mona, yes, I remember very well.
How is your health, madam?
I'm very well. Thank you. I'm getting old gracefully, but I won't say that.
It shows how close madam was with everybody, because all the spouses seem to know ma'am as well as the. So we have Dr. Bhavna here. She also wants to say something to you, ma'am. Bhavna Bade, can you please unmute yourself?
Yeah. Hello, madam. Namaste, madam.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Namaste.
And I'm excited to see you really.
Every now and again you will say when I call that yes, one day we will come to Bombay. You never came.
Oh, no, I really did not come. He doesn't bring me.
Every time I get a call. And how are you keeping?
Yeah, I'm fine, madam. How are you, madam?
And how are your, what is your daughter doing now?
Avanti and Sushrut, both of them are doing fine, madam.
Very, very good.
He's a writer, poet.
Yeah. Wow. It is good at this thing, at least I can see, because I had total loss of connection to.
He writes spiritual books, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad.
I stopped going.
Yeah.
Beg your pardon? No.
Poet. He's a poet. My son Sushrut.
Thank you, Bhavna. Sriram, would you like to say something? Sriram, are you there?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, we can.
Probably the screen is being shared at the moment. So, hello, Madam. Sriram here.
Sriram, how are you?
I'm
Hi,
fine.
Sriram, Giri here.
Oh, I saw you there, Giri. Dr. Kangle, nice to see you today. After the other day when we met in Dr. Ravishankar's 70th birthday meeting.
Yeah.
I'm sure, I mean, I can't really add so much to whatever other people have told very nice things about you, which are all true. I'm sure you've touched many hearts throughout your career everywhere and shaped many people's lives in various ways, which probably we didn't have a chance to tell you at that time. But personally, I feel that probably it's my duty to tell the whole forum how you have probably been a source of inspiration, everything for us and for myself. During the period when I did the anesthetics, and also when I was a senior resident and very reluctant to go to UK and write the entrance exam PLAB. And one day you called me and said, Sriram, what's bothering you? You don't seem to be concentrating on your work. Something is happening. I said, yes, madam, because I just entered this PLAB exam. I haven't done any work at all. I don't want to really go and take this exam. I have to spend money to go to UK and all that. Then he said, okay, after finishing the list, you come and see me in my room. I said, oh my God, I may be in trouble. I went, and then he sat me down and had a chat with me for about half an hour and told me what all I should do. And you said, don't worry, even if you haven't prepared, if you want to go, just get there, write the exam. And I said, but when I don't think I'll probably pass the exam, so I'll probably fail and I'll be back soon, but by which time probably my job will be gone, madam. She said, okay, if that's your worry, don't worry. I'll give you leave of absence and you get away from here. Just go to UK, just closer to the exam, take your test, and if you haven't passed, come back immediately and your job will be there. And if you do pass the exam, which she said, I will, which she said, just before you go, you give me a resignation letter, which is undated, and I will then put the date on and say you resign from the job and you carry on UK, which is so magnanimous of you to say that at that time, to give me so much of support, which I'll never forget, and I'm very grateful. I don't think I can repay that. And because if I hadn't come to UK and settled down, all my closest friends would probably know that I may not probably be alive to meet you today. So it has made a lot of change in my life. So, and said, before you go, you let me know, I want to give you something. And I said, what is that? She said, no, I'll tell you later. And after that, I met you in your house and you gave me a small Lord Ganesha to me. And he said, you keep it with you all the time and he will help you wherever you are, whatever you do. And I would probably like to show it to others what he gave me, and it is there.
Wow.
And this is the one which has kept me going. And this is my puja room all the time. And you're remembered every day, madam. And I'm glad you're keeping well. And I hope to see you further again. I hope to see you in Bombay if I come to Mumbai soon, thanks to COVID. But I wish you well, and I hope you many more years of happy and peaceful, healthy life, madam. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Everybody is saying all good things about me. So now I request somebody who should tell me my shortcomings also. So that I'm aware that when you do like this, then I'm not sure that I'm all that what you are saying. I'm not very sure because
no, there is something Madam, Ronald Miller wrote a big book, a reference book in California. He wanted it to be a reference book, poor man. You read every bit of it, page after page. You made it into a paperback must-read for all of us. So I think that book was meant to be a reference book. You sat and read every line of it, and then therefore I had to go and buy it. Everybody had to read it, and it has now become almost like an ordinary textbook. So I think that's your fault.
But you should be. I thought you would have been thankful to it. And I didn't know about this. The idea you're making a story. Are you making a story?
No.
No.
Not at all.
He's quite capable of doing. He's capable of making this story. I'm not very sure that I've done this anything like
Dr.
that.
Ravi, you were saying something, Dr. Ravi?
Yeah. So only inspiration for me that even at the age of 50, she used to sit and read.
Sit and read, yeah, that's the point.
Sit and read.
You
So
made the story, no?
that is how I also kept reading, because she reads, I cannot be without that.
So among all of us JIPMERites who have actually trained under Dr. Kangle, there is one person whom Madam didn't ever work with but is very close to. Can I have Pankaj Kundra, please? Pankaj has managed to find a place in Madam's heart, which many of us envies. Pankaj, are you there?
I think Pankaj is not there.
Okay.
Vidya, can I say something?
Sure. Who's that?
Dr. Bade.
Boliye, sir. Boliye.
No, you were telling, no, what is that thing? Asked, no, that everybody is telling very, very good things about her. And not so good things nobody has told. So I would just like to tell one thing. She had never come back to JIPMER after going back from JIPMER. We tried to convince her to come like by all the methods, but she never has come back. So I think we would have been very happy if she would have come to JIPMER. Yes, madam.
Ma'am, Bade is complaining that you never came back to JIPMER after retiring. That is your big minus point, that you deserted JIPMER once you left.
No. But what Bade doesn't know, that once I leave an institute, I never visited again. For the simple reason that when you go there, you'll find that hardly there is anybody who recognizes you, except perhaps a ward boy or a technician or something.
No, I would have recognized you, madam. I would have recognized you.
No, students would have already left. The staff would have already left. So, and anyway, it was too much for me to travel.
No, we wanted you to come for some conference and then get honored. That is what we wanted.
No.
It is not that come to. We called you so many times.
After leaving JIPMER, I got in such a this thing in Bombay that I had practically nothing to do with anesthesia. I mean, my brain couldn't have thought of any anesthesia project at all. Till Dr. Geeta caught me on the road one day and said, what are you doing? I said, I'm attending various courts because I had 4 legal cases against me. No, you come to the hospital. I will give you this. And that's the time I started working again. And I thanked her. I still continue to thank her for that thing. And after that, I worked in that hospital for almost 20 years. And where is Vidya? Because
Yes,
I had told Vidya to call any of those people.
They are here, madam. Madam, they had logged in. I saw them. I will. They had logged in, madam. They will be also speaking, ma'am, in a short while. Dr. Selvarajan, would you like to say something?
Who?
Dr. Selvarajan, can you please unmute yourself?
Selvarajan and Venkatachalam also will be there, no?
Good evening, madam. I'm Dr.
Venkatachalam.
Selvarajan from Coimbatore.
Yeah,
I think I came and met you about 15 years back. And,
almost long
after
time
that, got
ago.
trapped in a traffic jam and almost missed my flight. That time, mother was there with you. Yeah, mother was madam was very strict inside the hospital, as Piyush and many others told. And outside, she's a really lovely mother, because we used to have, I spent very, limited time with her, 3 months during my non-PG junior residency and 2 months during my senior residency. That time, I think Giri was also there, Giridhar Rao. And we had a party in Ilango Nagar, and Giri still, is talking about those nice days. And very, very nice time. And Gauri was my mentor, in fact. Because of Gauri only, I took up anesthesia. Ravi and LJ, one day I think we went at 8 o'clock for an 8 o'clock case. 7:50 he was there and waiting for us to do the epidural. That is the type of department we had. And I think, madam, you have really shaped us. All the basics we learned from you. Thanks a lot, madam. Thank you very much. Vidya, thanks a lot for connecting us to so many of our seniors and juniors. Thanks a lot.
Venkatachalam, are you there?
Yeah, he's there virtually. His picture is there.
Huh?
Is he there?
I saw his name. He's there.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good evening, madam.
Hi.
Good evening, madam. Very nice to see you and hear your voice after a long time, madam. Very nice.
Anyway, yeah, I hear you're doing very well. So
yeah, actually in 1984, when I was doing my DA, for my exam, you came as external examiner to Tanjore Medical College, madam. Professor Kishore was there in Tanjore Medical College. So after the exam was over, because of your advice, I came to JIPMER. Otherwise, I would not have joined JIPMER. I would have taken Tamil Nadu Medical Service and I would have continued here in Tamil Nadu Medical Service. But because of you, I came to JIPMER. Definitely, after coming there, I refined my techniques, madam. Definitely, it was very much helpful in my career. And now I am doing fine, madam, in Coimbatore. Actually, till 2015, nearly for 15 years, I was attached to GEM Hospital. You must be knowing Advanced Laparoscopic Center. I was associated with Dr. Palnivelu for nearly about 25 years. Then after that, in 2015, I started a 30-bedded hospital, madam, in Coimbatore. Now I am attached to that only, looking after that and practicing there only, madam. Very nice to see you, madam. And with all your blessings, I am fine here. Thank you, madam.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming, Venkatachalam. Shri, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
How are you?
How are you?
Thank you.
You are looking very fit. You are looking very fit and nice.
Thank you.
Shri, you haven't changed a bit. Shri, you haven't changed a bit. You look the same as 1989.
Really, maybe marginally she has put on some weight.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. That is true.
Ma'am, you can see the treadmill behind her.
Oh, no,
Good spotting. Good spotting.
I wanted to say a few things. I remember ma'am saying in theater that we have to give privacy to patient. I remember one day when the patient was still awake, we haven't anesthetized her. Dr. Satyaprakash came and pulled the sheet off the patient. Patient was naked. Ma'am said, Satyaprakash, don't you dare do this. I'll put you on the table and strip you naked in front of everyone. I remember that so much.
You don't tell me it is true because I don't remember ever.
Ma'am, it is true because
Shri won't make up stories, ma'am. Shri will tell the truth.
True. Because I tell my surgeons, don't touch the patient. You should have seen them before, not on the table. And then you used to tell us, because we didn't have monitors in those times, ma'am, 92 to 82 to 85, you used to tell us your fingertips are your monitors. Wherever you're standing, put your fingertips on the pulse. One thing, your eyes are your monitors, you used to tell us. The next one is, anesthetists should have eyes all around the head. You should know what the eyes at the back should tell you what your silly anesthesia machine is doing. Eyes on the side should tell you whether your operating department assistant is gabbing up with the theatre runner, and your eyes in the front should see what the silly surgeon is doing. I still have eyes all around my head, ma'am.
Nowadays they call it situational awareness. We learned it in simple ways. Keep your eyes open.
Yeah,
but now it's called situational awareness. Like
and lunchtime. Whenever lunchtime comes, everybody used to hide in their theater saying, "Oh, ma'am, let's see, let's finish quickly." Madam will come and say, "Who's going to share my lunch? I've got chapatis with me," and she'll give one chapati. And Yashoda used to say, "Let me finish off my lunch first. Then, madam, when she calls me, I have to go." So he used to finish chicken curry and fish, and then go with madam like a good boy. "Madam, I will come with you," and go and have the chapati there and come back.
Gauri, you wanted to add something, Gauri?
No.
Hi, Gauri. Nice to see Som and Bhatta's picture. Thanks, Ravi.
Som, are you there? Som, are you there?
I think Usha is there. Usha Ramki.
Okay. So Madam was asking about her colleague. Madam was asking about her colleagues from Mumbai. Dr. Meera, you're there? Dr. Meera? Can you unmute yourself, please? Please unmute yourself, Meera.
Usha is there. Yeah, Usha.
1 minute. Meera, please unmute yourself. Yeah.
Unmuted. Hello, ma'am.
Oh, Meera, I'm so glad you have come.
Ma'am is also there with me.
Yeah.
So we are actually a part of phase.
Before you say something, let me say something, Meera. Okay. Because they may not know how you know. See, after almost a gap of about 8 years after my retirement, I met Geeta Bhaskar, if you remember. I mean, you won't remember. And she caught me and she said, "You go. I will take you to the hospital and you must join."
He is our classmate, madam.
Yeah. And this Dr. Meera and another doctor, I joined the hospital which I called as a semi-private. It is a hospital, all right, but as far as anesthesia was concerned, every surgeon seems to have a choice whichever he wants. He can call and do it. The result, there was hardly an anesthesia department. And when I joined, I was in two minds. Am I going to do private practice or I'm going to do work like, going to the hospital, and then don't know whether the equipment is all right, what is it. Then Meera said, "But we bring ours." And I said, I was not going to carry the bag and go to the hospital and then give anesthesia. So she helped me. Let me talk to her now.
Meera, can you have some more light on your face? We can't see you that well. Just adjust your camera a little bit.
So I have to thank Meera because she and there is another colleague of hers, Krishna, they made me understand what is semi-private practice. Because you work in a hospital, but you bring your equipment. And I mean, that was too much for me. Because I wasn't going to spend the money and buy the equipment, and God knows whether I'll buy it for 1 year. But they really taught me how to manage. And I have to thank you for that, Meera. And of course, Dr. Sundaram, I have to thank for many things. For any small little thing, I have to bring him up and tell him I have got this problem. And he's an orthopedic surgeon, and at this age, there are hundreds of orthopedic problems, and he always has a solution. Not a very major thing, but he will convince me that this is the way to be done. And so, I thank you both of you.
I would like to say something.
Sure.
Okay. It's good to see so many of your students join this. I'm really happy. First thing, you all must have learned anesthesia from her, but I thought I learned something else from her, and that is how to retire gracefully from your profession. But I don't think that will happen. I thought I'll retire earlier than her. Because 2 weeks
I'm already retired.
2 weeks back, she called me up asking me whether she can get a new edition of Harrison because she wants to read it. So now you can imagine, as somebody said, she continues to read even at this age and keeps herself updated. So hats off to her. Thank you, madam.
Thank you. Thank you for saying so many good things for me. Now you can suggest something which you don't really approve. Come on. Be a sport.
Meera, would you like to say something, Meera?
Yes. We are a part of phase 2 of Madam. I don't think any of you all recognize or know us. But this is a period where I was fresh from my post-graduation and Madam had joined the hospital that we were in. And as she said, there was no department. So if we found something we wanted and we needed, we just carried it and continued. And once Madam came in, the department was set and things started being there where they needed to be there. And we did not have to ever search or carry things. She set up the department that certain things needed to be there and that no one should ever carry. And today, most of the places that we work in, they have all the equipment. Unless we do need something very specific or new, we have insisted that all the basic requirements are met with over there. I think the hospital acquired their first workstation thanks to her. That is how she is. And the other thing I would like to say is I probably relearned or was retaught anesthesia once I started practice under her. I would not say under her. She would always say that she is a colleague. And once you are in private, you are colleagues. I'm not a teacher and you are not a student. But I think I have always been a student and she will always be a mentor, both anesthesia and in life. Learning how to be fit, be disciplined, and finding a way out of all physical and mental problems by reading.
Thank you, Meera. Nancy, are you there? Would you like to say something, Nancy?
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Good evening.
Hi.
Good evening, madam. Hello. Good evening, madam.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes. Can hear you.
Okay. Madam, do you recognize me, madam? Nancy.
Of course I recognize you. How would I forget you? Nancy.
I am not basically a JIPMERite, but I spent 7 years in JIPMER. And everything that...
But you made your mark in those 7 years.
Madam, you are wholly responsible because you taught me so many things that have gone akin with my today's practice. Past 29 years, I've been an obstetric anesthetist in the same hospital. And I owe everything that I learned in anesthesia because I came to do my post-graduation at a rather senior age. 7 years post MBBS, I came to do my DA. It was very difficult for me to get to my books and learn theory. And I used to really get scared when I used to see Ravi Shankar sir, because he used to ask all the physics in anesthesia, he used to ask. Yeah, so that's my first girl.
Yeah.
That's madam's baby. That's madam's baby. And I used to get really tense. The only person who used to make me a bit relaxed was Dr. LJ. Come on, man, nothing, he used to say. That's nothing. Ma'am, I always used to have a great, not fear, I wouldn't say fear, but I always felt very insignificant, little in knowledge, because I don't know. But I made it a point to study and work hard. And today I owe everything to JIPMER first, because I got the admission, I do not know how. And secondly, you really treated and trained me to be a good anesthetist, ma'am. I'm ever grateful to all my teachers, all my colleagues, and certain people I want to make special mention was, which pulled me out of a lot of situations, was one is when I used to work with Dr. Ramkumar. Those days we used to write the anesthesia chart with a carbon paper at the back. And Ramkumar will take up, even in the middle of the night, and he'll put 2 pins this side and make us write the chart so that the carbon copy will be exact the same. And I followed it, but I got caught on the wrong foot one day when the carbon paper just slipped. And I had to, when I want to score out bronchial asthma, it got underlined in the carbon copy. That patient, for my bad luck, died on the table. And I was really grilled when I had to appear in the box. How could you put the patient in ASA 1 when you have underlined bronchial asthma? So every PG that comes to me today, I don't teach them much about anesthesia. I teach them ethics. I teach them documentation. Because these are the only things, 2 things that will, I think I came to you, madam, I called you up one day in Bombay and I told you, madam, I've got a case. And it was not just an ordinary case, but they had sued me for 10 lakhs. And it was really very traumatic time for me. And you told me, don't worry, when you go, you just answer what you've done. So that is Ram Kumar. Of course, LJ sir always used to say, relax and give anesthesia, you will never die early. And madam used to tell us about punctuality and being very kind to the patient, very soft in your touch, especially when you give a regional. Don't go on poking the back of the patient, because that will set up the muscle into spasm. And these are things that has taken me a long way, because and then always I was noted in JIPMER for one thing, quarreling with the surgeons. Now I don't quarrel with them, but I don't let them talk more than what I can talk.
That's putting it very mildly.
Nancy is also a politician now. She's a member of the Legislative Assembly in Tamil Nadu.
Wow.
Nancy,
Yes?
I just wanted to tell you what everybody used to call you.
Yeah.
See, Francis Cancelotti.
Cancelotti. Yes.
Usha Ramki, would you like to say something? Usha?
Thank you, madam.
Yes.
Hello,
Hello,
Usha.
Dr. Kangle. Hi, Giri.
Giri here.
Hi. Yeah, good. And I have extremely fond memories of training under you and Dr. Ravi Shankar. And it's
I
an
have a
honor.
fond memory of coming to your house in UK.
Yes. And it's an honor and privilege to meet you today. I have to thank Dr. Vidya for, and thanks to her, I got to meet a lot of my friends. And Dr. Kangle, I cannot thank you enough for shaping my career and my life. Thank you so much, and it's an honor to meet you today.
It is nice that all that I was able to contact you. Thank you.
Dr. Bhavani is in the middle of a list. I think he's got a few minutes to spare. Dr. Bhavani, are you there?
Yeah. How are you, madam?
My
My
God.
God, how can I recognize you like this?
Well, you know,
You are a coroner. I'm
this
very
COVID
well.
is actually driving us crazy, you know. I think I have some time. I can take my gear off a little bit. So how are you doing, madam?
I'm doing well. You think I'm all right, no?
Oh, that's
You
good.
think
You
I'm
look
looking
great,
all right,
actually.
no?
You look great.
Hi, Bonnie.
You know, well, madam, what can I say? I think I was your first
Don't say.
postgraduate.
You know, these people have said all kinds of good things about me. You tell me something which you noticed that was not a shortcoming.
No, it was not a shortcoming. I'll tell you just now. Okay? One day, Asha Podwal, if you remember her, right?
Of course.
And she did something which you didn't like, and you didn't say anything to her, and you kept shouting at me. And then
thank you.
My assumption of that was maybe you liked me so much that you wanted me to become a good teacher and teach good things to any resident who works with us.
But at least somebody got
that
it
memory,
I have to think correctly like this.
I think it was a pediatric case, if I remember.
Pediatric case,
and I was telling Asha, see, you put me in big trouble today. So how are you doing, madam?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Good.
I'm actually very delighted that all of us are seeing you. And
actually, you should thank Vidya for all this, because
absolutely, absolutely.
Because half the time I remember the names, half the time I remember the faces, and they did not always coincide. I mean, match together. So it was a good idea.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I think this way everyone has come together.
Yeah, this photo. Tell me, madam,
Kimo,
it is your place.
This is Kimo. Would you like to come in? Kimo?
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah.
I'm going to fulfill your wishes, ma'am, and I'm going to tell something bad about you. The first thing is this punctuality business you only taught us. I remember one day I came at 3:03 to the class, and you said you are early for tomorrow's class. And the most difficult question madam asked is not about anesthesia. I don't know whether any of you have faced it. I have faced it for a long time in theater 1 and 2. She will come around 7:55 in a starched sari and very fresh from everything. And she will ask you, have you started theater 1? You say, yes, ma'am. Then she will say, have you started theater 2? You say, yes, ma'am. Then she will ask the most difficult question which you cannot answer yes or no. Because if you answer yes, you are doomed. If you answer no, you are doomed. She will say, do you want me to come in? That is when you have to consult your stars, your horoscope, madam's horoscopes, madam's face, everything. If you say, yes, ma'am, coming, you'll say, oh, you cannot manage the theater yourself? Very bad, she'll say. And if you say, no, don't come in, madam, you are planning to do something, I will be in today, and that's it, you are gone that day. So this is something I remember. I always, and generally I used to get it right most of the time, but not always. Thank you, ma'am. And that was from Chidambaram. Yes, ma'am.
Som is also in the middle of a busy list. Som, are you there? If you have a few minutes to spare, Som?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
finished 2 cases.
Oh, so glad. I'm so glad, Somlata,
Hi,
that you
everybody.
can come. How are you?
Hi, madam.
Hi, Som.
Som, hold the camera closer to your face, please.
I'm sitting somewhere and is that better?
Yeah, better.
Okay.
Yeah, much better.
I'm sitting on the steps in a quiet place where I can't hear anybody.
Ma'am, she's bunking OT to talk to us.
Yeah.
Well, I have a little gap, so I'm not really bunking, I've been listening to the whole conversation as I'm doing the cases. So today I'm on solo, I don't have a resident with me, so that's why. Madam, it's so great to see you. I think the last time I saw you was in Bombay when I used to visit my in-laws' place very often.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I mean, after my mother-in-law left Bombay, I never went back. I mean, I went to India, but very short
But
visits.
now the Bombay you came, you would not recognize also.
Oh yeah.
It's the same house that I stay, but I mean the place is nowhere what you were. It is so crowded, and now of course thanks to Corona, there is no traffic on the road.
I think all, like everybody said, all of us are very grateful for the education that we got from JIPMER. I've been to UK, I've been here in US, and I can tell you that was the best basic education that I had. You know, I think UK, US, and it's a little different. And more than being an anesthesiologist, I think being a good doctor came from what you taught us. So I'm very grateful.
All of you say like that, but I'm not sure. That was, I think, the arrangement, initial arrangement of the department. The credit goes to NP Singh.
I think the credit goes to all of us.
No, credit, the initial credit, because he sets the department, that the timings and this thing, and I just followed it. I made sure that it is followed, because it could have been just given away and you take it easy, which I didn't want. I've been very particular of the timing, because that is a characteristic of Bombay. It has nothing to do with my special characteristics. In Bombay, you cannot go. I couldn't go to the medical college class. If you go to 2 minutes late, you will not enter the ward. He will say you just stay outside, because he will be there. The consultant will be there at 8 o'clock. If we go late, there was no chance a student to go. So for me to be very particular about the timing is not my specialty. It is the specialty of those days in Bombay.
Well, whatever it is, we learned it from you and the department. So, you know, the credit goes to the department.
You should give the credit to the department, all the number of other people who work.
I do, but you were the head when we were there, so you know you ran the department. So
yeah,
I'm not giving the credit just to you. The whole department,
No,
yes. I think our department.
Yeah, you should.
I said
And of
our
course, I
anesthesia
have the
department in
special
JIPMER was the
corner for
envy
all.
of all the departments.
Yes, that is true.
Gauri,
That is very
Gauri,
much
would
true.
you like to add something to that, Gauri?
Yes, I would. So I agree with Madam in one sense that when I was a medical student in JIPMER, NP Singh made anesthesia department very prominent, and he sort of drew attention, sometimes in a negative way, but there was a lot of all publicity is good, right? So we had this awareness that anesthesia was some exciting field, but really didn't know much about it. He definitely brought some sort of recognition to the department, which many medical colleges those days did not have. So many of us did elective posting in anesthesia. Personally, for me, LJ was my mentor at that time, and that's what drew me into anesthesia. But the thing is, he was very good at picking people like LJ, Seshagiri Rao, people like that who were excellent teachers and role models for many of us. But I think by the time Dr. Kangle came, the department was relatively well known and well accepted in the position. But Dr. Kangle brought a stature to the department, which we didn't have before. We had individuals who were very classy and all that, dignified, but somehow she got everybody together, and we ended up having a totally different image in JIPMER and outside of JIPMER. So I give her a lot of credit for that. The other thing I want to say was I have to go to work soon, so I'm leaving soon. But I feel very good about what you've done to get us all together. It's wonderful, but I feel very bad that some of our heroes and colleagues and friends cannot be here, like LJ, Funny, who's my classmate, and Yashoda, who's a very good friend.
Asha.
Asha, yes.
There's not a day that we don't remember them, Gauri. There's not a day that we don't remember them. Thank you. We have in the midst of so many anesthetists, we have one person who's quite close to Madam Sham. Are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah.
Can you hear
Hi,
me?
Sham.
Hi. Hello, madam. So I'm doing very well. So the interesting thing was, I forget how I met Dr. Kangle, but it was in the middle of my MBBS, probably through my cousin Sundar, who's an anesthesiologist. And I used to land up in her house every so often because I was a picky eater and I liked the food that was there in her house. And we used to just talk about everything other than anesthesia. Because at that time, I wasn't really interested in anesthesia per se. So we spent, I think, about 2 years in my MBBS time. We would talk all kinds of things. And I learned a lot of things at that time, one of which was the being very detail oriented. And then when I finally joined anesthesia, I also learned that the patient, even though the patient is kind of asleep, you're still doing medicine for the patient. Then since then, I came over to the US. I trained in neurology, and I also trained in artificial intelligence. I hold a PhD. And I've finally gone back to the OR after 30 years in a very interesting way. So I played a small role in renaming the Department of Anesthesia in Pittsburgh, where I am. It's now called the Department of Anesthesiology and Perioperative Medicine. I was just asked what my opinion was, and I said, you need to have the word medicine in it. And since I'm actually a neurologist at this point, a new area has opened up where the neurologists now monitor through intraoperative, through these procedures, where you're basically monitoring brain function throughout these complex procedures, like in neurosurgery and cardiothoracic surgery. And it's actually done by a neurologist at this time, sometimes done by an anesthesiologist. And I'm helping develop some artificial intelligence methods to automate the process because what we are noticing is that while the heart is very well monitored, the brain is not at all monitored. And at the end of the day, the brain is far more important than the heart, which is basically plumbing. So at this point, I still remember about Madam was that she used to say, just go ahead and do what you need to do and what you're interested in. So I have had this very circuitous route where I've trained in anesthesia, I've trained in neurology, and I've trained in artificial intelligence, and I'm kind of putting them all together, hopefully to make a little bit better the safety of patients in the OR.
Thank you, Shyam. Thanks for joining us. Dr. Mohandas, would you like to say something? Dr. Mohandas, you were the safe driver, you were the designated driver for Dr. Ravi's wedding party. Could you just unmute yourself, sir?
Hi. Thank you, Vidya, for putting up this.
Very good. How are you?
Nice to see you, Dr. Kangle. And after I left in 1980, sorry, I never came back to Pondicherry. And then a few attempts when I came to India, but I knew that you left JIPMER and you're gone to Chidambaram, and then finally you left to Bombay. But I still remember all the wonderful time we had, myself, Giri, Subbu, Sriram, and I can never forget those 4 years we spent in JIPMER. And starting from Dr. N.P. Singh, who made me work on the resuscitation, which he got it from WHO, and all the ventilators, Mark 2 to Mark 8 and Mark 16, me and Vinod used to open up. Literally service them because
so you were the culprit who made Dr. Ravi start opening things, and then he never stopped.
Yeah, Ravi, and then we were all good sparring partners, we were good teachers, and of course I missed my good friend LJ. I didn't even know that he has passed away. until I came last year and met all my colleagues at the JIPMER alumni meet. And it was wonderful, and all I could do is thank you to all of you, and with all the trainings I had from you, madam, and my man Chakravarti, who put me into anesthesia and told me you're not going back to Malaysia, finish your MD and go. And with all his blessings and training, I did very well in Malaysia and put JIPMER on the map. And ours was the first MD ever recognized by the Malaysian government. And since then, Indian graduates started to come, and there were many who came from Bombay and few other places, and now they're all working in Malaysia. And but for your training and all the motivation and all the good gang we had, I would not have been where I am today. I'm still practicing. I ended up as a cardiac anesthetist, and I was the head of the department of Cardiac Institute in Malaysia, National Heart Institute, now in private practice. Still working because I don't know what else to do, to retire or not retire and do what at home. And every time I stay at home, my wife will ask me, why the hell I don't work at home? The hospital is it, I run away.
Go fishing lah.
I don't do fishing, I don't play golf, and that's one of the drawbacks. But a lot of work in intensive care, and I spend all my time in intensive care doing a lot of other things. I got interested in ECMO, one of the few anesthetists who do routinely balloon pump and cardiac work. And thanks to Vinod, I still remember how we didn't even have a central venous catheter. We used to cut the plastic tubings and put in the patient's vein through the metal needle used for blood transfusion. And those were the days. But unfortunately, I didn't meet anybody, and all I remember is Gauri, and who always used to tease me. And then it's nice to see her again here. And thanks for this wonderful meeting. And hope you keep this
goalkeeper.
Sorry, yeah. Goalkeeper, and I sent my picture of goalkeeping to Chinnakrishnan just now, how we won the cup, and we brought the cup for the first time. And Subbu must be very delighted. And we were all there. Ram, I still remember, but and also Vani. And a lot of things have happened, and we will chat another time. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Ma'am, what made you,
madam,
what
I
made
will
you
come to
decide
Bombay
to...
one day. I will meet you because I have a special patient who is actually a film actor from India who came here for a shoot, and I ended up having appendectomy at our place. He is actually Nawab Patwari's son, Sharmila Tagur's son. And I have an open invitation to come to Bombay. Will come, and definitely when I come, I'll meet you, madam. And thanks for trusting me with your car. I hope, and also made it possible. And I kept to the rule, and I brought back the car. I still remember. I keep telling everybody about that car incident. I cannot forget.
Madam, what made you decide to trust him with the car rather than the others?
Yeah. And Sriram is waving me. Anyway, it was wonderful, madam, and to see you again. And definitely we will meet. Thank you very much for all the help.
There is one other person who's helped me tracing lot of people. So, Achu sir, can you please say a few words? Because of you, I was able to trace so many people that madam wanted to meet. So, thank you so much for helping me.
Please unmute yourself, Achu. Achu, unmute yourself. Achu, your mic is off, please.
Yeah.
You're okay. You're okay now. Say something. Yes.
Good evening, madam. Hello. Good evening to everybody. Good evening, Ravi sir. Good evening, Giri. Good evening, Prema. Good evening to everybody. Good evening, Mohandas.
Nice to see you.
Mohandas. So, madam, I stayed the shortest time with you because after DA I had to go out. Hello.
We can hear you, sir. We can hear you.
Yeah.
Yes, Achu.
Yes, all the good things, all the The fundamentals, all the basics, all that what is learned is still staying with us. And all this pre-operative visit, intraoperative monitoring, everything is doing well, madam. Madam, you're asking about the other side of the story. If you remember, you called me 1 week before the exams of DA and told me maybe better I change my specialty. You said you spent 5 years in obstetrics before coming to anesthesia. So you asked me to give a serious thought whether to continue in anesthesia or no. Then it so happened that against my wife's wish, I left JIPMER and I went to Madurai, some other place. I just in a hurry to get finished my MD. But you are so magnanimous. When Professor Viswanathan came back to JIPMER and told you that I was doing well, so you wrote a letter to me saying that maybe I didn't assess you well. So I'm happy that you are doing well. Keep the JIPMER flag flying high, and you are that's really very magnanimous of you. And I am still in touch with all my friends, Ram, Bhavani till now, Yasoda till he was alive. So life is going on well, and life has treated me well. I worked in private. I worked in Saudi Arabia. Now, for the last 20 years, I'm in Doha, Qatar, in a senior position. I am the lead for the bariatric anesthesia. Thanks to all of you, ma'am.
Thank you once again.
Thank you, Ashok Menon, Dr. Ashok Menon. Now I think you can see Dr. Ashok Menon. You are the one who asked me to go to my hometown and start work there.
Yeah, my assessment was wrong. No.
No. Maybe I was one of the dumb people. I never really.
No. It's me. Maybe you were a very quiet person.
No. I just wanted to bring the topic for the lighter vein because you were asking. No, everybody's saying only good things. So I wanted to remind you.
That you told me, because even now it is never too late to learn and get.
But you were so magnanimous that you wrote a letter to me saying that forget about my words and do well and keep the name of the JIPMER well. Thank you so much. And thank you, Dr. Ravi. Thanks to all of you.
Can I interrupt here, madam?
Yes.
Achu has done very well in his career. He is considered one of the good teachers in his hospital, in his institution.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks to all of you, what you taught me. I got the details.
What you have told me, I feel very guilty about it. That I should have been able.
Sorry, it was not. Sorry, that was not my idea. Sorry, that was not my idea. But I am also saying that you are very magnanimous to write a letter to me, to saying that to forget about what you said and to keep going.
Yeah.
Maybe
anyways, I'm very glad.
Maybe that made you work harder and then prove that you are a good anesthetist.
He is a good
I mean, I don't have so much. I am not such a thinking person. Just go with the tide. So in the department, everybody was close. And Dr. Subbu, I was with you in the same floor. You and Raghu. Yes, sir. So I'm seeing you a long time. That was first year. So Siva used to be. I used to just follow Siva because he used to guide me and things like that. Of course, Bhavani and Yasoda we were classmates and we were friends. But Siva is the one who was very close to me all the time. And fortunately, for the last 15 years, we are together in Doha. Again, we were in the same department. Until recently, he was in charge of. He was the lead for pain and palliative care. So still that association is continuing. But we always talk about all the teachers, all of you, LJ sir, Ravi sir, Gauri, madam, and everybody. And I always think that I was in the golden period of anesthesia. So I met Mom Vinodhan when he was just newly married. Then I met all of the people. I worked under Dr. Chakravarti, Dr. Bahel, Chinni Krishnan, so Ram. So and Asha, we were very close throughout undergrad also because my name used to be after her name. So she used to go and do all the exams very well, and I used to follow behind her. Then I followed anesthesia. So it's nice to see all of you back, and thanks for this chance. Once again, thank you, madam. And I really hope to come to Mumbai. Karun also is with me, Karuna Karan. Hopefully, one day both of us will land up at your door.
I
Is
hope
that
so.
you in the picture?
Please
Achal?
do that.
Okay, got that.
Yes. It is me.
Standing next to Chakravarti.
Yes. I wish I can have his photo, really. All the stalwarts, Dr. Ravi is there, Ram is there, and I am standing there. Oh, very fortunate picture. Thank you very much.
Looks like you are double your size, man.
Yes, sir. No, actually, no. The fact was I was so stressed up that time. So that's the only time when I was very, very slim. I'm back to my usual size.
You're doing well in life. So you double this up.
Yes, by God's grace. My son is a leading ophthalmologist back home in India. My daughter stays with her family in Boston. So my father is still boss at 96. So still life is treating me well.
Good for you.
Very good.
Prema, would you like to say something?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Vidya. Thank you for connecting all
Hello,
of
Prema.
us. Yeah, I agree. Ma'am, do you remember me? Chandrasekhar and Prema, I always have to say that. Hello.
Yeah,
Can you see
hello.
me now? Prema and Chandrasekhar. You don't remember me? VC. He was MS student. Prema. I was there for 1 year senior residency, and I'm from JIPMER undergraduate days. And junior residency I did for 6 months with Dr. Bahel. And then I came for senior residency after doing PG in Madurai. You remember me, madam? And you used to post us in acupuncture clinics, and everybody talked about the parties.
Now I remember.
Yeah, parties in your
Yeah,
house. Parties in your house. One thing, I'm in that photo, the photo that that we were all seeing just now. And one thing I remember especially about the parties are, you had a helper who could make special starter with the malata. Malata, as we used to call in Pondi, with the groundnuts. She used to make very special starters. I've never tasted anywhere. I still remember that. I still remember all that. And all the fundamentals were taught by you, Gauri, LJ, and Ravi. I really enjoyed my stay there. And Gauri, I can never forget you, Gauri. I take this opportunity to talk about you also. Gauri
is left, Prema. Gauri is gone to work.
Okay.
So maybe you should connect up with her one-on-one. Madam had a special request that Sinha should attend. Sinha, are you there? Ashutosh?
Yeah.
Please unmute yourself and speak.
Yeah, thank you, ma. Thank you, Vidya, bringing in all of us together.
Hello, madam. Can you hear me?
Madam, that's Sinha. Ashutosh. I think you need to come closer to the camera, Sinha.
Is it better? Hello?
We lost you.
Lost you, okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
Madam, can you hear me? Yeah, okay, fine.
Yes.
As teacher was telling the other time about madam asking him to resign. So when I was just about maybe a couple of months into anesthetic training as DA, one day I was with madam in theater 1, and she, as usual, she came and started asking questions. And no clue about anything. So she said, okay, come and see me at home. I went home and she said, there's a blank piece of paper, sign this. That's after she had fed me. Sign this. I said, what's this? She said, this is your bloody resignation letter. You're not fit to be an anesthetist. So Sala, all our times have time to you daru pee ke drunk. You're not fit to be an anesthetist. I said, okay, what do you want me to do? She said, okay, I'll give you 1 month. In 1 month, I'm going to have a test. And we were about 13 PGs that time. And if you do well in that test, you are fit to be an anesthetist, or you are bloody this letter, I will fill it in, and that's it, you're gone. So it's okay. 1 month I read, and I topped that. Even a bit Vidya, Manoj, everyone, I topped the test. So then you can stay. And that changed my life. Because then, I think I remember someone said, Ravi sir said she wrapped you on the knuckles. I got a tight slap on my head that day in theater 1 in front of Rajaram and the whole gang. And she said, do you think putting people to sleep is a joke? I said, no, it's not a joke. Take it seriously or get lost.
That's how it is. Apart from that, madam, you owe everything. As I put in my message in the WhatsApp, you are the Guru Mata. You taught us all a lot in everything in life, and I personally owe everything to you. And also, Ravi sir, person, check, and yeah, my eldest daughter was born in JIPMER. It's now taken after me. She's an anesthetic registrar in London now.
Sina, your voice is breaking up. I think you need to check your internet connection.
Okay.
Meanwhile, can I move on to Shiva Subramaniam? Shiva, are you there? Shiva?
There. I'm there. Yeah. Thanks. Madam, good evening. Good evening, madam. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you, Shiva.
Yeah, I owe a lot to you, sir, and madam. Whatever little I know, it is because of you people. Both of you have taught us all, everything. More important is learning. Means you keep learning from anybody, and you can learn anything from anybody. And you keep on learning till you live. This particular thing sticks to me still. I keep learning. I keep doing things. What I keep following these things. Madam still at her age, she kept reading all books. This really taught me a lot. One. Secondly, of course, my first day with Madam, I'll never forget. From what our co-PGs told me, she was a terror in the OT. Be very careful. Keep everything ready. And if she doesn't like, she'll make you stand by the side of the patient and not touch the patient. I remember going to pediatric OT, and first day with her was in pediatric OT, kept everything ready. In spite of that, something will be missing. Say size 30 airway will be missing. She'll say, where is this airway? When you don't have it, then she'll make you stand by the side. Don't touch the patient. So that used to be the way. But of course, it was very difficult initially. Then we got so used to it and we started liking her. The regularity and meticulousness, we learned from her only. I'm still thankful to you, ma'am, for all that. Thank you, madam.
Daniel, are you there? Daniel?
Can madam talk about this? Madam, do you recognize these people?
I think she doesn't remember me, maybe.
Is that Mapleson, Ravi?
No, it is Dr. Sporel.
Sporel, I think.
Yeah.
Sporel. Okay, sorry.
He was one of the co-inventors of jet ventilation. And then later on, he has visited our department in JIPMER to demonstrate acupuncture.
So we had
and this is in 1985.
Next to our banding hall.
He delivered a Chakravarti memorialization also.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's also for Bain circuit. Bain and Sporel.
He brought Bain circuit to JIPMER.
No, Bain circuit was much before that. But he came there he talked about it, of course. I had made my circuit that time, and he commented on that and how to go about investigating with that. That is. Is madam online? I don't see her.
That's what I'm just trying to check because of the share screen. Ma'am, is it getting late for you?
She's not there, Vidya.
No, she's there. Her thing is muted. She's there. Madam's mic is muted. Just unmute her, please.
Next page.
Second page, because she's been quiet for too long. She's gone to second page.
Yeah.
Ma'am, is it getting too late for you? Patta, just unmute her, please.
Hello, ma'am. Say something.
No, her mic is muted.
Okay. She's on the next page. I could see her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has to unmute herself because I can't do it from here.
Okay.
Wait, tell her where the button is.
No, there's somebody next to her.
Okay.
Okay. So while we are at it, Urdi, would you like to say something? Urdi?
Urdi, if you're there, you can speak because Madam can hear. She's only muted herself, Urdi.
Okay. Now, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
That's Urdi Modi speaking, Madam. Can you hear her? She
Hello.
wants to see you too. She wants to see you.
Yeah.
Where are you? I'm also searching for you.
Yeah. Search for me well.
Vidya, can you ask Madam to unmute, please? Because I can't do it from here. Somebody should help her do that.
Ma'am, will you be able to unmute your mic, Madam?
I'm on it. I'm on it.
Okay,
Just
thank
give
you.
me some.
Thank you.
Madam's mic is muted. Can you please unmute it, please? Yeah.
Okay.
Ma'am, can you hear us?
Yeah. Oh, you're looking the same.
Am I, ma'am? Hello, ma'am. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And I
It's
can
after
see
a
you're
long
doing good.
time. Yes, ma'am, I am good. After a very long time, I'm seeing you. Almost 30 years. 20.
Maybe I think after restarting, I might have come only once.
Yes, ma'am.
After that, I had not come. It must be more than 25, 30 years. So you're still practicing, no? I hope.
Yes, ma'am, I'm practicing. I'm practicing a lot of pediatrics, and every day I keep thinking about you. Sometimes I'm very annoyed for taking up pediatrics. I say I shouldn't have learned pediatrics, and most of it is from you.
She does pediatric oncology work. Ma'am, she does pediatric oncology work, so it's even more challenging than regular pediatrics. And our host, Radha Krishna's wife, and she work together. She's a breast surgeon and Urdi anesthetizes for her. So we're all in good company. Dr. Sivarajan sir, would you like to say something? Sivarajan sir?
Madam, can you hear?
Just unmute yourself, Sivarajan sir.
Sivarajan.
Yeah, yes, we can. No. Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah, Madam, can you see me? Can you understand? I am Sivarajan. I did BA along with
camera.
Along with Giri, Mohandas, Sriram, hi. And then Vinodan and Ravi Shankar was the MD PG. You remember me, Madam? I remember one thing. Whenever I come to the party into your house, you will ask one thing to me, Sivarajan, see to that nobody breaks the class, vomits. You must take care of them. It is my duty at the end of the party to take them along carefully to the washroom and then carefully take them back to JIPMER. That is my duty. That's the way. You see, I really enjoyed your house parties, and I retired from MMC in 2007, and 10 years later, I worked for SRM Medical College for 10 years. I'm fully retired now. I'm not taking up any anesthesia work, enjoying my work at home and watching movies.
Yeah.
Other than anesthesia.
That makes two of us. Neither I'm working anywhere and I'm also retired.
But you have done it up to for some more time, no? I just stopped it at the age of 70. I said, I am going to stop. Last year I retired. After that, I have stopped. Do you recognize my face? There is big mustache.
Sivarajan, come close to the camera and show your mustache.
Can you recognize me?
Now only I would, yeah.
Yeah.
Now only I got it. Because
I was a student of you, Behel, and Chakravarti sir, and LJ sir. I still remember that.
Now I remember.
I worked for 6 months as a senior resident after completion of my PG. I went to government service then. Tamil Nadu government service. Thank you, madam. I am very happy to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
When Urdimuri is there, Nishkala can't be far behind. Nishkala, are you there? Nishkala, are you around? Okay. So, Lalit, you didn't get a chance to actually speak, so you go.
Madam, can you recognize this?
Rajagopal sir is also there in this.
That's Dr. Bernard, no?
Yes.
Yeah. Dr. Bernard, Dr. Anne Claude, Nityanandam.
I think this was on my terrace.
Yeah, not your terrace. It is a guest house. Guest house terrace.
Oh, the guest house terrace.
Guest house terrace. Yeah. That is your ISA farewell party to you when you left JIPMER.
Yeah. Oh, Daniel is there.
Yeah, Daniel is there.
Daniel, would you like to say a few words? Daniel, are you there?
Yes.
Hello. Hello,
Hi,
madam.
Daniel. Hi.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Good evening, madam.
Good evening.
Yeah. After 35 years, I am seeing you.
Oh.
Oh my God. Hello. Good evening,
I
Ravi.
not recognize you.
No. Good evening, Ravi sir. Ram, Bade, Achu, and all friends.
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, it's very nice. But I believe me, if you had come on the door, I would not recognize you.
Lot of changes in life. Good thing. I am
glad you are looking so much in this thing.
Nice, madam. Nice, madam. Lot of training I had it in JIPMER. It helped me to walk through Ireland very easy. I was there long time. Hello?
Go ahead, Daniel. We can hear you. We can hear you, Daniel.
Okay. Since Mary doesn't want to come there, I turned back. Now I am in Qatar with Achu, and Karunakaran.
So where is Karunakaran?
Yeah,
Karunakaran is just gone to Doha and he's on quarantine. He said if he reaches home on time, he will log in.
Madam.
He got stuck in India because of the lockdown and couldn't return, and he took a flight and now he's in quarantine facility.
Okay.
Nice,
Man,
madam.
you recognized this picture at the time.
Oh my God, now it's double the size.
Maybe 3, Daniel, maybe 3.
Maybe also double.
I would not recognize also.
Madam,
No wonder you're Achu's colleague, so you're all putting on weight.
Yeah, exactly. Madam, you made me a little bit interest on chronic pain. Fully qualified in Ireland in chronic pain. Radio frequency to neuromodulation to implant. Very good. I'm doing it. But in Qatar, I am a little bit restricted because of language problem.
Morning.
And thanks a lot for all the training and everything. God bless everybody. Thank you.
Madam
specially wanted to meet Usha Vijayaraghavan. Usha, you're there? Usha Vijayaraghavan?
Vidya, one second.
Sushma, it's so nice to be. I've specially asked him because I have to thank you and both. I thanked Meera already. I thank you also. That,
I have no need to thank ma'am. I am always grateful to whatever you have done, whatever, like everything, wherever, from the day I started working with you has been a totally different scenario for me. Whatever said and done, I'll forever be grateful to you. It has, I came in contact with ma'am very late, like we were in touch in Bombay. But whatever work we had together made a complete difference to whatever I used to do before. The discipline, the punctuality, everything mattered. The way we deal with surgeons, whatever the way you taught us to do, I never used to do that before. So, thank you, ma'am.
No, but I called you especially because I have to thank you to give them an idea what is semi-private anesthesia. Semi-private. I mean, this where I worked in JIPMER or the previous hospitals, it was always fully equipped. I had nothing about it. But here was a place, the hospital was very equipped. Otherwise, everything.
But whatever things that you managed to do.
And that was quite an education for me, really.
Yes.
There
was such of a difference that so many equipments we got, we could work with more peace than we used to before. Thanks a lot to you, madam.
Vidya,
thank you.
Sushma, is Priya also there? So, is Priya there, Sushma?
Not sure. This is my husband. He also wants to thank madam.
Hi, madam.
Thank you.
I hope you recognize me.
Yeah, of course. No, but I especially wanted your wife because these are the two people with whom I work so much. And they are all the PGs who are, I mean, all my departmental people, which you might have heard what are these things. I mean, because it was such a long time ago, half the people's names I remembered, but faces. Not, I couldn't remember. And I remember the faces, not the names. So when I came today, I was really, and I'm glad most of them have come.
Yes.
Because here,
I couldn't.
Different.
For sure.
Whatever said and done. It is not just me. I was just one of the many. But the people like Dr. Ravi Shankar, SJ, you must have heard the names when they talk.
Yes, whatever we heard.
And Dr. It was Gauri. I mean, Gauri was just outstanding. And the whole thing made a difference.
Sounds like, this sounds
I mean,
like our KM.
No, because we were very well organized. Yeah. And people were very friendly also. And everything went off very well. I mean, things would go smoothly. And they all of them take of the timing. The timing is part of Bombay, where I learned in JJ Hospital. There, if you go 1 minute late in the ward, he will say you may not come. I mean, that strict they were about the time. I was that way quite fine.
Thanks.
Good, UK. I'm so glad you came.
Nice meeting you, madam.
Usha Vijayaraghavan, madam wanted to see you. Prem Kishan, are you there? Prem Kishan? Please unmute yourself, Prem. Please unmute yourself. Prem Kishan, please unmute yourself. You're muted. Your mic is not on. You need to turn your mic on, Prem Kishan.
Vidya, Usha is there. Usha Vajiraghan is there, but she's muted herself.
Okay. Usha, you also need to unmute yourself. We can't hear you at all. Usha?
Now, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay, Usha,
yes. Yeah. Okay. Ma'am, how are you?
I'm very well. I can see you are doing very well also.
Yes, I am. Ma'am, I'm seeing after a long time of 35 years almost.
Yeah, almost.
How is your health?
When I asked Usha, Vidya, she said, but I don't remember her. But I said, you may not remember, but I remember. I want to see her.
Usha, I didn't know you studied anesthesia and JIPMER. I thought you were PGI Chandigarh. So when she said
MD.
Usha,
I did
said,
DA.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I did DA from there and MD from PGI. MBBS and DA from there. Madam,
Hello,
I wish I
Usha.
learned some. How are you, Giri?
Hi.
Fine. Ma'am, I wish I learned some acupuncture from you. I missed out on that. Yeah, tell me.
Hello, Vidya.
Hello.
This I
Yes,
don't know.
yes,
Prem
Prem Kishan.
Kishan.
Once Usha finishes, can you start? Let Usha finish, please.
Okay, okay.
Prem?
Ma'am.
Okay, bye.
Ma'am. I can't see madam.
She'll be in the other screen. You just speak. She's there.
Okay, okay. I can't see. You are now, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. We all can hear you.
Okay, okay. Ma'am, it was very nice working with you. I remember like working long hours was not made, was made appear easy. You made it, you made anesthesia, giving anesthesia, I mean, an art. So we had become good artists in giving good anesthesia. Really, ma'am, thank you so much. I wish I could have learned some acupuncture from me, which I missed. Ma'am, take care of your
But
health.
now, yeah, I'm quite well. No problem.
Okay.
Madam Usha managed to reach Dr. Maithili as well, but I don't think she's on the internet. So I will give you her number. You will be able to speak to Dr. Maithili on phone, ma'am.
Yeah, you tell her that. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Because see, Vidya asked me about I know anybody from Delhi, and I couldn't remember. But then she casually mentioned Maithili, and I said Maithili was working in Delhi with me for as a senior resident. And,
I think so. She told me.
And then she returned to Chennai, and she was working in some neurological center.
Yes, ma'am. I was also with Dr. Veera Murthy for over 20 years.
Okay.
Doing only neurosurgery cases. Only then I met.
Tell her I remember her, and I thought if she was able to come, then it will be nice to meet her.
Yes, retired sort of. I'll tell her. I'll talk to her. Madam, Dr. Vijay conveys his pranams to you.
Okay.
Dr. Vijay Raghavan says he's fine, ma'am. He's very good. Nice talking to you, ma'am.
Thanks for joining, Usha. Thanks for joining,
Yeah.
and thanks for
Okay,
tracing.
thank you.
Thanks for tracing
Maithili.
Dr. Maithili as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Prem, would
Take
you like
care.
to say something, Prem Kishan?
Madam, namaskar. Namaste, I am Dr. Prem Kishan from Andaman. You remember?
Yeah. No,
Of
I
course,
don't
I am quite
remember.
changed.
But you mentioned, then I remembered.
Yeah, during 85, I came for 6 months training. And I was medical officer. You only
because
have
you
made
mentioned,
me
otherwise I wouldn't have
anesthetist.
remembered. But now I remember.
Yeah. So you only have made me anesthetist, and I am still practicing. Now I am 72 plus. 2008,
So where are you? Where are you now?
I am in Port Blair, Andaman.
Oh, you're
Andaman
still
Nicobar
practicing there.
Islands.
Yeah, but you're still practicing there. Along with you, there
still
was one other person, no, with you. Along with you,
Dr.
one other
Ghanshyam
person.
Singh was there. Dr. Ghanshyam Singh, he has just left us 3 months back. He is no more. Yeah. So I especially remember I especially remember your words that nobody dies suddenly. There will be so many things before death. So nobody dies suddenly. That I still remember and practice. That we must be fully prepared and see that nobody dies. On the other hand. So
I'm so glad
you
you
have
came,
made us
because I would have missed you
self-anesthetist.
also.
Yeah.
So these
So
people
I am
came
very
and
thankful to. I
no, but
remember
I'm
all.
thank you came because I remember two people came from there in the department, and one girl also at that time came from somewhere in South Kerala. She was also with you? No.
No.
One
Maybe
girl
before
came for
Okay. Hi, Prem. So hi, sir.
How are you?
Namaskar.
Namaskar.
It is, you're coming to Port Blair is due still, huh?
Yeah, it is still due. I have made some photos. I have made plans.
Dr. Prem Kishan, Vani is saying hi to you. Vani wants to say hi to you.
Yeah.
I remember
Hi.
you. You're the
Hi,
only one I
Vani.
recognize.
Okay. I think quite changed, no? Lalit also is difficult to recognize. Okay. You all are most welcome to Andaman. It is a beautiful place. After the corona problem is over, you can all come. Madam, my daughter got married in Bombay. She is in US now, but in-laws are there in Bombay. So whenever I come, I'd like to see you.
So please come. Please come. My telephone number is there. You give me a ring. I'll tell you how to come.
Prem Kishan, I'll be sharing madam's details on the group soon. And Dr. Ravi, you have to arrange a JIPMER anesthesia alumni get-together in Andaman.
In Port Blair. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Dr. Prem,
It will be
Dr.
so
Prem,
nice of you.
Prem, this is Ram Kumar here. You talked about Dr. Ghanshyam Singh. He was a postgraduate from Manipal, where I worked after I left JIPMER.
Yes.
In the mid-90s, he did his post-graduation. I'm so sorry to hear that he passed away.
Yes.
He was my student.
Yes. He was diabetic and asthmatic also.
Yeah.
So just 3 months back only he died during this your corona period.
Yeah. So sorry to hear that.
So, quite sad. So,
thanks for coming, Dr. Prem. Though I reached you very late. We managed to track your number very late. So thanks for coming.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for everything. Because of you, I could see Madam. Otherwise, it was impossible.
Dr. Selvarajan, would you like to say something? Can you unmute yourself, sir?
Yeah. So wonderful, Vidya. I think we could see Madam and hear so many people talk, and Madam also continued for nearly 2.5 hours. Wonderful meet. I think you should gather everybody's address and phone numbers and release a booklet, or at least from this group you can take. So wonderful, really.
Dr. Selvarajan, everyone's number is there in the WhatsApp group. You will probably just have to tag each person who is which number.
Okay, fine, Vidya. Thank you. I think could see Gauri and many others. I think we are missing LJ sir. Madam also, I think she is in really good health. Otherwise, she couldn't have withstood these 2.5 hours of talking. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much for all that.
You need to tell us when you're tired and we'll close. Otherwise, we'll just go on. Hari Krishnan sir, would you like to say something?
Yeah, my time in JIPMER was, I was a JIPMER student, but in anesthesia, I did the first year MD, and then I left for USA. I feel so bad right now that why I left it, but in 1976, we had to, otherwise the visa program was closing up. My time with Dr. Kangle is unforgettable. I have never forgotten her a single day. All the time I was doing anesthesia, I always remember her. She's the one made me interested in anesthesia. Like somebody said before, I came to anesthesia during the internship, took a month of elective, thinking that, nobody will let me do anything, so I can have a free time. But boy, I was wrong. They let me do everything. I learned to do the IV. I learned to do the intubation. Finally, they even let me do the spinal. I was so impressed with everybody and the camaraderie they had in the department. And God, I was so happy that I joined anesthesia. Thanks to Dr. Ravi Shankar, he helped me a lot to get the MDC. And I didn't thank him enough. And I'm sorry, Ravi, I quit the job too soon. I shouldn't have. But if anything else I remember or don't remember, the best thing I always take it from the anesthesia department in the JIPMER was the camaraderie, the attentive to the work, the details, and also it taught me how to drink moderately and safe. I can never forget that. And Madam, thank you so much from the bottom of the heart. Next time I come to Bombay, I would definitely come and visit you. I hope it is soon. Thank you.
Jaggi, you're not seen very well, but can you unmute yourself and speak? You're in the dark.
Oh, I am dark. I can't help it.
That's a good one, Jaggi.
Because you're dark, you shouldn't be in the dark, you see.
I don't know how much you remember of me or on what would make.
Of course, I remember you.
Jaggi,
I
she asked for
remember
you.
you
She
talking about.
specifically asked for you.
No.
Yes,
No, because he
hope
did
you
something.
remember me
No,
all the
no, I particularly think of you because you are one of the few who, besides anesthesia, had taken another profession and doing both at the same time. And so I was highly appreciative of that, actually.
Thank you, ma'am. I have to say I owe you quite a lot because I joined the department when I would think it was the heyday of the department over there. We had you as a leader, LJ, Ravi, Gauri, Binodan, Ashok Menon. I mean, come on, I can keep on going, but it was a perfect time. And being a bit wayward, I was finding it pretty difficult to choose a career. But I was so lucky to have joined the department when you were there. Between you and me, I think you are one person who could actually control me pretty well, actually. I was pretty good at wriggling out a lot of things, but I just couldn't get out of anything that you asked me to do. Thank you very much. And the other thing is the fundamentals of the department is so good. That I worked in so many places, but I've never seen anything like it. And it's so grounded, really well. One more thing, and before I left for the UK, I remember we had a long chat. I'm so grateful for you for that. It opened my eyes to a lot of things, and I really followed the advice that you gave me. And also I got a lot of help from you and Gauri before I left. Thank you very much for that on a personal basis. I hope I'll see you again. I did meet you once when I had a very short visit to Bombay.
Yeah.
I was just passing through, but I'm sure next time we come around there, we'll meet again.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
No, next time you said that you'll bring your wife with you.
Yes, definitely. I think she's stitching some masks or something like that. So let's get on with it. Thank you very much. Thanks, Vidya, for arranging this. And nice to see a lot of familiar faces whom I haven't seen for a long time. Thank you.
Nice to see you, Jaggi.
Good.
Oh,
Nice to see you.
Good. And
Good,
you?
good to see you, Jaggi.
Somebody control Jaggi. That's an impossibility you've done, madam. Not very easy to control.
Sriram, please go ahead.
Oh, thank you.
What I want to say was that when Jaggi was coming on the screen and he said, "You're looking dark," and he said, "I am dark." That reminds me of the time when he had come to my flat in UK, and I had just bought a new camera, trying to fix up how to take these pictures, and I had a new flash, and I was fiddling with it, and I couldn't just take a picture very quickly. He said, "I'm posing for you so long. How does it matter whether there's a flash or not? Still, I'm going to come dark. Come on, man, take it." So I remember that.
But we remember Jaggi's guitar, not his color.
Yeah.
Well said.
That was Vani.
That's true.
Vani, remembering you're playing the bass guitar.
Bass guitar. Yes,
thank you. Thank you. I'm glad somebody remembers me for something.
Yeah, we do remember.
My heroes were two dark guys, Ravi Kumar Barwa and Jaggi.
Hi, Jaggi. Prema here. How are you, Jaggi?
Oh, hi. I'm fine. Thanks, Prema.
Classmate.
Nice to see
Yeah.
you.
I didn't expect you here today. Very nice of you. Yeah. Jaggi and I were
Jaggi, this
classmates.
is Manoj here. Jaggi, I still possess 2 ZZ Top CDs of yours, which you left in my place in the UK.
Oh, you got that.
Remember?
Okay, I got the Pink Floyd one as well, actually.
No, it's a ZZ Top one, I can tell you that.
Thanks very much, Manoj. Keep it. Look after it.
Jaggi, can you hear me, Jaggi?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. I've also got a 3 Dog Night LP that you've kept with me. Do you remember that?
I think I'll make a trip to all these places and collect them as soon as I can. Yeah.
Right, absolutely.
Once again, ma'am, thank you very much. And so nice to see you and hope we'll meet soon again. Uh, I think that Vidya is off for a minute.
I'm Dr. Patta Radhakrishnan. I'm a surgeon.
One second, Dr. Ramesh, can you
How
please
dare you
unmute
take
yourself,
over,
Dr. Ramesh?
Patta?
I have to something. Vidya, if you give me a chance, I'll say a little something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, see, as a surgeon, I remember madam for two things. One, as a house surgeon, I was doing a cervical node biopsy in the side room and trying to give a local madam put on glove. She said, this is not the way to do. She held the lymph node in her hand and said, you should not leave it till you get it out. You give local, it will disappear. I quoted madam so many times. so many times. Whenever I do biopsy. Second thing I remember again as a surgeon, there's one 40-year-old gentleman came with upper GI bleeding, and Dr. Kakkar was on, consultant Kakkar was on duty, and he was, a little high. He came, opened the stomach, no source found, closed everything, patient ventilator. I was there, me and Ilango Arnold Vishwaran were in the recovery, were just by the side of the patient on a ventilator, young wife crying. Madam came, she said, have you found the bleeder? I said, no, ma'am. Then why are you wasting oxygen? I remember that.
Madam, can I add one more thing? I think one of the things you taught me was how to handle difficult surgeons. We had some, we had a few who had egos as high as the sky, and I think I was always rubbing them on the wrong side, and I think you were so helpful in sorting them out. Thank you very much. And till this day, I think I do command quite a bit of respect for them, having learned from you. Thank you very much once again.
Jaggi's wife is a surgeon, by the way.
Pardon?
Orthopedic
Jaggi's
surgeon.
wife is a surgeon.
No, I won't mention names, but I'm sure everybody knows. They are professors, though. There was a professor of surgery, professor of gynecology. I think you know who they are.
Mr. Jaggi, Ram here. It's high time you wrote a chapter on how to deal with the surgeon.
Absolutely.
Jaggi, you nearly went to Jaggi Kimu here. You nearly went to hit Prabhavati madam, and I got blamed for that by madam.
Why is your camera off, Kimo? What are you up to? Why is your camera off?
It's easier this way. I'm scared of showing my face to Jaggi.
Okay, Dr. Ramesh, please.
Nishkala has not come.
I have to search, madam. I'll just look for her. She was there in the beginning. Dr. Ramesh?
Yeah. I'm Ramesh here. Actually, I don't get 10 steps. Hello, madam.
You shouldn't mind. We have met quite often. So.
Yes, madam.
Hi, Ramesh.
Hello, sir. Okay. As say, madam, it's quite going a little late. Usually, I don't get 10 step when you are talking to people, but after seeing all senior people, I'm really humbled to talk about you, madam. But for some reason, though I came from Tanjavur and joined as non-PG junior resident, I become a favorite of your non-PG within about 2-3 months. I worked with you for 4 months in OT 1 and 2, and it became very close. And finally, I got my DA in JIPMER, madam, with all the things. Actually, I was first in the waiting list for MD, but that time there was no open candidate can be selected. I think that time Kanta and Nishkala got the MD, and myself and Somlata got GA, so we were selected. And we gave a party in RB House at the top. And after the party, what happened was, we were at 1 month I spent. After that, I was selected in PGI Chandigarh as MD. So I have to leave the department for PGI MD at, it's a very good, PGI at, then have to leave it. Then there was another party that time there was examiners were coming, Vishwanathan and people, Martin Isaac and Nishkala and Ramkumar were taking exams, and I have to take care of them and all these things. She told me Ramesh will take care of. She is so confident with me. I took care of them, all the things. And after that, I was selected. Then we had a lot of discussion with all the people, and then there was during the party, then he said we should give a send-off party to Ramesh. So within a month, I was welcomed. I was also given a send-off party to go to and I couldn't hold the glass properly. You know, Tanjavur, we are all very Puritans. We don't know how to hold the glass this time. Only Pandi will have all the beer and all these things. And Ravi Shankar told me at that time that, you know, you must hold the glass, then only you can hold the mask properly. That's it. From that onward, I started drinking properly and holding a mask. That's what it has happened. And Ravi Shankar LJ told me, Ramesh is a good student, let him continue here, and we'll give the MD in next year, next term, definitely will give. But madam told me, no, let him a good student, he got MD, let him go back to Chandigarh, and then he'll come back as senior resident here. I think within 6 months, we become so much close to JIPMER than the PGI. So when I came back from PGI, that Bhakti was the pediatric surgeon, then I told him I am from JIPMERite. So like what Vidya said, I am an honorary JIPMERite, which has been told to me. So from that onwards, I become a good pediatric anesthetist because Bhakti said, oh, JIPMER anesthesia is very good. So I never told I am from PGI, I am from JIPMER. So that's how I become a pediatric anesthetist from Dr. Bhakti from 1985 and all this. I think Giri was there and I took over from Giri and all these things. So it was a good 30 years of experience. Whenever I came, I meet Dr. Kangle. This is actually in Bombay meeting, Dr. Bhavani, Ramkumar and me when we were felicitating Dr. Kangle in Mumbai in one of the meetings. It was a very, very honoring. And 2014, I was giving an oration in Tata Memorial and she saw the invitation that I am giving the oration. She came on voluntarily to come and listen to me. It's really a great honor, and I mentioned in the meeting also, the teacher who inspired me is here sitting in the audience. I think that's a big thing with the conference. I can keep on talking. Let me not go further. I'm sure because a lot of big people are around. I am really honored to be a part of this group. Though it's an honorary JIPMERite, I'll still continue as a JIPMERite.
Well said, well said.
Madam, there is one youngster who has never met you, but only heard about you. But so he's very keen to say a few words. He's Dr. Ravi's student. Leo, are you there? Hi, Leo. Unmute yourself, please. Unmute yourself, Leo.
Yes, madam. I'm here, madam. I'm able to hear.
Yes, yes.
Yes, madam. I'm very much proud to be in this wonderful meeting. I have till now I'm keep on watching. So nice that everyone is appreciating madam, and every moment is being remembered and put forward. And I have some jealous that I have missed madam and to be, but though there is a long age gap. And one more thing, even though I haven't met madam, she has given a very nice genetic printout, that is Professor Ravi Shankar. That whatever have been discussed now, that learned from madam, it is being just printed, and we had a copy of Madam Kangle and Dr. Ravi Shankar. Even today, when I practice and I'm telling to my postgraduates, certain principled ethical ways that I follow, I just gathered from JIPMER, and the reason for such a the ethical way of practice and patient's care, everything from madam, means I'm really admire about her. And thing is, what I have noted now, see, those days there were no media, there were no technology like that we are chatting now. There is no work materials like e-books and like that. But every word and every movement of the excellent teachers was a real book for the students, and they have read and they have imbibed in their mind, and they have excelled in their lifetime. That's what I mean with the discussion. That's what I come to know. I'm really proud of madam, and if time permits,
Leo, we'll come back to you. There are a few others who are waiting.
Yes, madam. I'm completing, madam. Thank you so much, madam. Thank you.
Madam, you won't be able to recognize her in the new avatar. We have Radha from the US, ma'am. It looks totally different from what she did in JIPMER. Radha, can you speak up?
Yeah. Hey, madam, how are you? I don't know what to say. I'm just so overwhelmed.
I doubt.
Can you?
Somebody else is talking, yeah?
No, they are not talking to us. They are talking somewhere else.
No, I'm saying it is not Radha who is talking.
Radha's talking.
I'm saying it's not Radha.
It is Radha.
Okay.
Multiple medications.
Okay. Yeah.
Somebody who is
dictating. Somebody's dictating on the phone.
Just one second. Let me figure out who is speaking.
Lalit probably. Lalit.
It was Bade.
The limitations of the medications and work up 40% for the overall.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, Radha, there you go.
Hey, Vidya, thank you so much. Ravi sir, thank you, madam. It was a privilege and blessing to be one of your last students right before you retired. I was with you for the whole non-PG, but you were there only for the first year or something, and after that, Dr. Rajendran was there with us, and it was such a pleasure and a blessing and privilege to have been your student, and I'm really proud of that, and you was such a great role model for all of us. I don't know, words fail me. I am what I am today because of all the mentoring and the friendship and the courage and the self-esteem that JIPMER gave me. I just want to say thank you so much for everything. And Vidya, this is awesome. Thank you so much. This is amazing.
You're welcome.
Can you recognize me though?
Yeah, I saw your profile picture on your WhatsApp, so I could recognize you. But if I had seen you on the street, I would have just walked past you.
You look the
Radha, do you want us to say some more?
What do you want to say? Madam, this is just so amazing. I still remember coming to your home and Amma making all that food, and we had such a great time in your house. And that was the first time that
I'm sorry, I would not even have recognized you.
Oh,
and I have no memory also. No, I mean, I have to be very honest about it, that I have no memory also about it.
Radha, you
came
should
to my house,
Hello,
and
Radha.
she had Amma's food, and I don't know.
Madam, she and Manik started MD just around the time you left.
Right. Monica and I were classmates, yeah, the same time. We both joined in the same batch. Yeah.
So Lalit's been waiting for a long time. Lalit.
No, just before Radha goes away. Radha, you should tell everybody the pentothal scoline. I think our teachers as well as our contemporaries need to know that.
Of course. So what would happen is every Saturday we only had a half a day OT, and so I would just be waiting for the operating room to finish so I can just take the bus to go to Madras, where my parents, I still can't say Chennai, Madras, where my parents were living, and then I would come back. I would take the bus really early in the morning on Monday morning and then come back right on time to the operating room at 8 o'clock. And so Manohar and Krishnamurti and Siva, all those people would make fun of me. Hey, Radha, pentothal scoline, right, because I used to just run outside and take the bus so I don't miss the bus. So that was a big joke. Pentothal scoline, right. And I'm sure Lalit, you gave me that. Yeah, that's me, ma'am. Can you recognize me? The one in the sari on the left with the flowers. I don't think I can keep flowers anymore. Don't have that much hair. Anyway, so, and I think Lalit also nicknamed me as Lady Macbeth because I used to wash my hands so much at the time because we didn't have gloves to wear for everything like now. now I change gloves every second. So anyway, it was an amazing 4.5 years that I had in JIPMER. I joined as senior resident as well, but then I got married and went to Delhi. So that's why I left. And I don't know what else to say. Words are inadequate. That's all I can tell. It was wonderful. And now in this, usually I'm quiet, but when this group opened up, I think I kind of went overboard with my post. It was like a dam broke with the floods. It was just like, I was like going over every post, and Vidya caught it actually. She caught that, the fact that I was looking at every post and answering appropriately. So that was very nice of you, Vidya.
What was your son's comment?
Oh, my son, I used to tell him, hey, I used to be very, very quiet. I'm such an introvert and I never used to talk. And then my son's name is Anirudh. And then he told me, how come you never stop now? So I was like, that's not funny. Piyush, I'll tell you Anirudh's name story later, like Angad's story.
Yes. Do you recognize my mustache?
Of course I do. That's why the first thing I asked you was, do you still sport your signature mustache? How is Manvi?
She's fine. She's fine.
Good.
Good to
Ravi
see.
said, your wife used to send those idlis to the OR. It used to be soaked in that molahapudi ennai. Appa, it would just melt in our mouths. Cloud like idlis. Mallippu madri. So many great memories. I had so many
all that.
Oh,
Today morning only you were talking about it.
So madam's laptop battery charge ran out, so they're just going to plug it back in. So you guys can just chat whatever you want. Madam will be back in a few minutes.
No, I think I can see Nalla Sivam here. So Nalla Sivam deserves this time. You've been very patient, my friend.
Yeah, but he might want to talk in madam's presence. I don't know. Nalla, go.
Then can I say something?
Tell us all about your Bollywood connections.
Vidya, a lot of people have to phone
అసలు
me.
ఏవి కనబడతలే చూడు వాళ్ళ మాటలు
Lot of people
వినబడుతున్నాయి
have to phone me like Giri, Sriram and all. They
ఏవి
were
కనబడతాయి
jolly well
వాళ్ళ మాటలు వినబడుతున్నాయి
Who is 7EC93? Please. Okay, thank you. Vani, go.
I said Dakshi, Gauri, Sriram, Jaggi, Giri, all of them better phone me or I'll set them straight.
They can't not call you. Not they won't dare not call you.
Yes, I'm a surgeon after all.
We'll call you, Vani. Don't worry. Next time
Thank you.
We cannot forget you, Vani.
Yes, thank you.
Vani and Ram.
Jaggi, I'm willing to co-author that chapter with you.
Ma'am, you're back. Nalla, would you like to say something?
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Is Madam
Okay.
back? Dr. Kangle, yes. Sorry. Yeah.
First of all, thanks for what a lovely meeting that we're having. I was probably the last of the batches when ma'am retired. Dr. Ravi and all the Dr. Bade and all the seniors, all of you have been my teachers. It's a lovely experience working and learning in JIPMER. One thing what I wanted to say is that anesthesia has got two parts. One is the theory and other is the skill and the technical part of it. And I realized that JIPMER had the blend of both of them. And the most important thing is the honesty and trust. It's very important for an anesthetist to always share whatever he went through is during his anesthetic experience, good or bad, and that helps the next person to be clear and be more watchful. And this I learned from JIPMER because every time we finish our night duties, the next day morning, we have the department there and Dr. Ravi there. What's happened to the last night cases and what missed? We had to give at least a summary of what was the last night's show. But it was a wonderful experience being in JIPMER. Manoj and Vidya, Som, Nancy the terror was always mine. I spent a lot of time with her as well. But lovely, lovely experience. Thanks, Dr. Ravi. Thanks, Dr. Bade. I owe a lot to JIPMER anesthesia department. I never wanted to be an anesthetist, but let me tell you, I'm so happy that as an anesthetist, I've been much more happier, and I think we can do a lot more than that. I did my cardiac anesthesia. Now I am a bariatric anesthetist. I'm in Dubai, quite happy. All of you are welcome anytime you drop in Dubai. And Karuna, Urudi, I've had lovely experience with all of you all. Nothing much, but I did miss not much. We could not, we have a unfortunate that we didn't have much time with ma'am. But whatever it is, JIPMER anesthesia is something special. And I'm very happy, Vidya, that the WhatsApp forum is going great. And yeah, all of you are welcome. Thanks, Manoj. Thanks, Piyush, Selva, all of you. I did spend a lot of 10 years in Coimbatore, so I met all our JIPMER anesthetists in Coimbatore as well. And now in Dubai, we do have 4 or 5 of the JIPMER anesthetists in UAE. And maybe we should have a GCC alumni as well. And nice to know that Karuna, Daniel, a lot of people are there in Qatar, Muscat. Batula was always there. I do remember all my seniors talking about Madam. Batula used to talk a lot about Madam Kangle and used to say, ma'am is amazing about the regional blocks and things like that. So we had our own share of knowing ma'am from our seniors and from all of you. Thanks, Vidya. Thanks, all of you. Lovely. Thanks, sir. Thanks, all of you. Good night. Yeah, hi. Thank you.
Lalit will kill me if I don't give him time now. Lalit,
sorry.
yeah.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Ma'am, I'll speak quickly because I have 2 or 3 things to say. The whole world is washing hands, but you taught us, you ingrained it into us to wash hands. The asepsis, and one of the theater attendants, I think it was Devaraj, used to say, Madam, na monotailam, Savlon, iodine, spirit. Now I use only a single one. I'm never satisfied. Chlorhexidine, they say evidence-based and all that. I say, no, Madam, mono, the yellow, or iodine, and then spirit wash.
Lalit, I do the same chlorhexidine 3 times.
Yes. but the concept of this thing, I keep emphasizing to all the trainees I deal with as well. And it's come from those days of absolute cleanliness and the way of handling things. Then there are 3 things, 3 respects I learned from you other than anesthetic. Respect for the patient, somebody already alluded, which is covering up the patient, making sure the privacy. It used to be Kupamal for us. So it's only Kupamal used to walk from Ward 16, quite, in an open theater gown, which was uncovered. You said, look at that. And you made us do that. After that, we had a trolley that would shift them. They gave them decency, which is probably a given now, but it was an concept at that time. Most of what I do today, which is being taught as something revolutionary, I've already done it in JIPMER. That's the beauty of the whole thing. Second respect was for theater workers. We must say the gas plant person, Kanaga, madams, then the man who used to bring the lemon juice.
Vadumani.
Sorry, my age. Vadumani. And then all the theater technicians. And then on Ayudha Puja day, I was with madam in the gas plant, and we were doing Karpura Arati with an open flame with those big tons of oxygen. And then I said, this can't be right. And by the time I learned all that oxygen was flammable, it took me 5 years. Okay. At the end, I said, as a senior resident, I said, Madam, how is he doing flame and oxygen? She said, there is something called faith. And he's got faith. And those guys had real faith with all the people. Nothing will happen. And I'm still hoping nothing happens. Respect for tissue. Again, a concept. She would say, I won't name those surgeons. The way they were butchering away. And she said, look at that. And then look at smiles and those difference. And I have learned that, and I try to teach our surgical training as well. There's something, again, concepts slightly out of anesthesia. You taught respect for tissue. Finally, I think I've been taking notes from this class today as a good student. I have found out that there are 3 madams. There is an AM madam, which is in the morning, which is the stiff body posture was, oh my God, that's the one we are scared of. There was an afternoon madam who was by then had lunch, was happy discussing academics, would want us to present the case, but she could be approached. She was very approachable. Morning madam was the one Kimu alluded to. you want to be very careful. And then there was an evening madam, the mummy madam, who looked after us. And the combination of the three is what makes you so special. And I think that's my take. That's it.
Ram has been helping me coordinate this from the beginning. And he's been keeping track of everyone who came and, helping me to call you on time. But Ram hasn't had a chance to speak at all. So Ram, here you go.
1 second, Vidya, 1 second. Lalit, do you remember the broken glass in the party?
He did that.
Not me.
Okay.
Okay, shall I go? Yeah. So, ma'am, my tribute to you is that I was fortunate to work with you practically from the beginning of my MD till I finished my senior residency, and that's 6 long years. And that was a long time for you to really have a huge impact on me. And believe me, there are 4 people I used to always talk about sometime or the other when I taught my students at Manipal. And you were, of course, one of them, L.G. Chandrasekhar, Dr. Gauri and Ravi Shankar. They always used to appear in my lectures somehow very mystically, because what I learned was in JIPMER was from the 4 of you. And what specifically I learned from you was, I think, as Lalit was alluding to, the need to care for patients. You taught us all that a patient on the table is not just a nobody, and I think he or she comes first in the operating room, and only after that do we need to worry about anything else. And the last thing, I don't know whether Bhavani is still there. I need to search on the next screen. Bhavani, are you still there? Bhavani Kodali? No, he's only his. He's probably gone again.
No, I'm there.
You're there, Bhavani. Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to. Oh, thanks, Bhavani. Because Madam used to always say that cesarean deliveries, the senior most person available should go for the delivery. Don't think it's just a spinal and you can be done with it. And I'm so glad that you disappeared today for a short time to go and do a cesarean. Right? You messaged us saying that you're not going to be there for some time. The chairman of the department going to do a cesarean section. What more do you want? I mean, 40 years, 45 years, it doesn't matter how long. Those messages will never die from our minds, And this is, again, something that I always used to emphasize. We very often, senior residents used to send senior PGs to do cesarean deliveries. And Madam really used to thrash the life out of senior residents if they ever did that. And the last thing, Madam, that you taught us was that 8 o'clock morning reporting at the end of a busy duty. We had to all troop to your room and, no breakfast, dirty, unshaven face. And we had to report all the previous day's cases. And on one occasion, I got blasted because a patient, like I think it was Lalit who said earlier, a patient suddenly turned for the worse. And we said, ma'am, everything was okay till suddenly the patient's BP dropped. And then you fired the daylights out of the entire team. And you said, nothing ever happens suddenly. Your patient was showing enough signs and symptoms that something's going wrong. You have failed to recognize it. And this is another lesson that, that's why I think most anesthetists trained in JIPMER would anyway have a finger on the pulse, despite having very advanced monitors. And that is, again, another thing that you ingrained in us. Thank you, ma'am. I can go on and on for another 10 minutes, but I think it's very late in the day. Thanks, Vidya, for giving me the opportunity to directly speak with Madam. I've been interrupting in between. And if I can end the story with a joke, Madam gave us total care, not just teaching us anesthesia. We were all talking about parties in her house, in Ilango Nagar. And on one such, I had a two-wheeler, a scooter, and unfortunately Gauri is not there, but Gauri knows the story very well. Madam asked me whether I can take Gauri home on the scooter. And she told Gauri, the only person I can trust in this group who's not had a drink is Ram. So please go home with him and he will drop you back in JIPMER campus. So I did that. Only thing is, next day, Madam asked Gauri, what happened? How was the ride back? She said, everything was fine, Dr. Kangle, or Madam, whatever she called Madam. He said, but every few minutes, Ram would turn around and pat me on my lap and say, are you okay? Right. So that became a habit because my wife sitting next to me has a habit of sleeping off on the scooter. And it became a reflex for me. Every few minutes, I would turn around and tap her and say, are you okay? that habit continues. So Gauri really thought maybe I was drunk. I don't know. So, ma'am, I dropped her safely in her house, and I didn't drop her anyway on the road that day or any other day that you asked me to take somebody home. Thanks a lot, ma'am. I think revelation and a teacher across generations, I should say, a teacher across generations, and your students fortunately have earned a name for themselves. And we always say what we learned is from our great teachers. And thank you, ma'am, for being that figure for us. Taught us everything that's important in life, and we continue your legacy. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
So,
Well said. Very good.
Behind this entire program is the huge collection of pictures and memories that Dr. Ravi brought, and he brought some order into the chaos that we would have been if he hadn't been there quietly in the background. So, Dr. Ravi, would you like to make the closing remarks?
Yeah, sure. See, actually, Dr. Leo told what I have to say. Whatever I am doing, that is the imprint of what Dr. Kangle has put in me, starting right from the time. Whatever things that Nala was talking about, others are talking about, everything has come into me because of Dr. Kangle. That is what it is. And she might say, no, I was dependent on you for doing things and things like that. But quite a lot of things, it is not just anesthesia. It is a human being, it is a life, or what you are living. So to that extent, she has modified the way that we live, modified the way we think and we behave. That is what is much more important than doing a small anesthetic, which is good. So on that direction, I think I have imbibed quite a number of characters that she had. She was in the college, in the department, then she was my neighbor, but staying next door for almost about 8 years. Whatever she has given me, she actually, when she left JIPMER, she gave all the glasses to me. Do you know that? She gave me 3 dozen glasses.
Break some, sir. We got to come there and break some.
So all of I still have about 12 of them as a memory for her. And that practice could continue only for till I was in JIPMER, yes, but after that, that I couldn't continue with that in the departments to have a party because people are getting old here, and then my wife said, no, you don't bring them, you go out, eat somewhere, don't come to the house. So that is the last party that we had in the house was about 10 years back. And so see, it is not just the party, it is the way that you move with your students, the way that you take care of them, what she has taught us, what she has shown us. It's not taught. What she has shown us is how to go about. And that has taken me a long way. And still, and now I have retired as a dean. And the only name that what I have achieved in the college institute is to change the attitude of the faculty, to talk to each other, help each other, and then get the department to a higher level. It is not only in anesthesia, but in all other departments. That's what I think I have achieved, changing the attitude of people who are working there. And main important thing is listening to whatever the complaint, because no administrator listens to the complaints of the people. So that way, this is what I have imbibed from Dr. Kangle all the way through. So thank you, madam, for putting an imprint on me. As Dr. Leo has said, it is really an imprint that is continuing. Thank you.
Madam, if Dr.
Ma'am, if we'd like to hear from you before we disperse, because I think it's really getting late for your dinner and bedtime.
After listening to all of you, I sometimes wonder if I'm the same person now and then. Because I have not ever associated myself with my personality in a sense that I should do like this and that. The things just come naturally to me. I mean, I was not trying to impress anybody or anything. And as like many others in the anesthesia department, I also came back a pure accident, a necessity, I should say. But subsequently, I did enjoy doing it. And coming to JIPMER, first of all, I worked in Delhi. And except for the obstetric gynae department, all the others, the general surgery, the orthopedic, they're so lackadaisical. They will come anytime they want. And for my Bombay training of coming on time, anytime, even as a student, I thought you can't continue working like this. So even now I'm very particular about time, what time I get up, what time I do anything. I mean, I can't ever reach late to any, even when I'm doing this semi-private practice there. If it was 8 o'clock, I'll be there at 7:45. So it was not something special for me when I hear everybody saying that at 8 o'clock we had to go. But 8 o'clock was the timing. I mean, it was not the thing. And but when I met all of them, I was very happy because I myself was very happy in the department. I was impressed by the very intelligent students which came in our department, and I learned a lot from them because my knowledge in terms of basic physiology was minimal, and I had been doing work only in the women's hospitals, so I had not much exposure for general surgery to be done on a major event, and I had a little hesitation. I would call it hesitation, but I was a little unnerved initially. So I thought it was okay. I mean, I couldn't do anything, but it was what I really appreciated in the department was everything was organized. I mean, the timing everybody was willing to follow, not come anytime that you feel like. They were willing to study. They were willing to do whatever may be the faults of or the drawbacks of the senior consultants like LJ or Ravi Shankar or me or anybody. They were willing to maybe argue it. They were willing to try to understand, but they will never disobey you in any. And that makes a lot of difference in anesthesia. See, if a senior tells you you do it like this, and you keep thinking, like I remember Hema one day came to me. She said, "Madam, what should we do?" I said, "What happened?" She said, "No, Dr. Bade was giving, and he kept on telling me to take BP every 5 minutes. I was getting very irritated like this." And I said, "What happened afterwards?" He said, "Suddenly I find there was no BP." So when a senior person tells a person, no matter how this I learned from my boss. So I'm telling the same thing to what I mean, whoever come under me with. So that way I was very listening. But today I thoroughly enjoyed meeting all the people. Some of them I would not have recognized looking at them after so many years. But I'm also very happy that they've done well, that they still resort to the training they received in JIPMER anesthesia department. That is important. See, I'm just one of the figures. There are many people who come, but it is from all of you that you have learned. If you just point to one person, it will be unfair. See, the contribution of LJ you can never forget. Contribution of Ravi Shankar you can't forget. Contribution of that Dr. Mehta who came and started the department, you should also respect. So if you just keep thinking of finding a fault with a person and taking the other person by praising him so much, it doesn't mean anything. Your contribution your department works because all of them, contributor works because not only Varmuni works, but because Miranda works. Miranda also was a contributory factor. I mean, what all he could do, I mean, at least definitely I was not able to do. So any little thing that went wrong, I had to go to Miranda. So you have to respect them for what they are doing. I mean, you should not take them for granted. That is why I thought, except for maybe one or two occasions, I was able to get on with all the staff, not only in the department, but also in the theatre, in operation theatre. Because I had to give them, you have to give them their due. And to me personally, I knew the limitation of my intelligence, limitation of my concepts of anesthesia and all. So I don't want to impress anybody or anything like that. In fact, I had an open mind when I came. And I was able to learn a lot from people like Bhavani Shankar, LJ, Ravi Shankar, and also others in the department. It may be a very small amount, but that it does matter because I will absorb if I think it makes sense. So I'm very thankful to you, Vidya, for arranging all this, and it really makes my not only day, probably for a 1 week I will be in air after hearing, but I had wished that somebody could point out to what other drawbacks I might have had. But of course now I'm not going to do anesthesia anymore. But I will still think about it and see whether I can improve. And thanks a lot for everyone.
Thank you, Radhakrishna, for giving us this unlimited time without, normally we do these programs for 2 hours, but today he made sure that we could, run for as long as we want, and he was there with us throughout. And this entire thing wouldn't have happened if he hadn't sort of got me on to a new adventure of my trying to get people online and getting them to meet people who have influenced me in my life. So thank you all of you for joining today.
Madam, have a nightcap.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, madam.
It's lovely
Thank you,
seeing
madam.
you.
Namaskar.
Madam, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Good night.
Yeah, thank you, madam and Vidya.
Thank you, madam, and namaskar.
Namaskar.
Vidya,
Thank you.
come in.
Giri, bye.
Sorry?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for bringing people from around the world. You have done very well in life and career.
Madam, thank you.
We have been students of Kangle. This is a very momentous day for all of us. Very momentous day. Thank you so much.
More than for all of you, for me, I think I don't know whether though I've enjoyed, so whether I could contribute.
Madam, Manik and I wanted to plan a 70th birthday party for you. You didn't agree. We tried to plan a 75th birthday party for you. You didn't agree.
Good morning. Good evening.
And we just gave up.
Good
so
evening, sir.
Today is happy no reason at all, ma'am. Happy no reason at all.
Thank you, Vidya.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vidya.
Good evening, right out.
Thank you.
It was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for everything.